players became the new forever GM, but didn't really know the system accidentally TPK'd everybody, so sessions canceled. Welcome, guys, gals, to the special 50th anniversary special. We did it.
Nope,
we made it to 50.
Nope, not an anniversary, Matt. Nope.
What? What do you mean not anniversary?
Not, anniversary implies a year.
Yeah, we've been doing this for like a year.
No, we haven't.
No?
There's 54 weeks in it.
And?
But we took some weeks off.
True.
Oh, so then we're over a year.
Yeah, that's what I meant. We're over the year, baby. We did it.
Why didn't you just say 50th episode? Say episode.
No, I like anniversary. It's a nice name.
It's not an anniversary.
Your face isn't an anniversary.
You're lying to people.
Fucking got him.
Anywho's. Yes, this is the 50th anniversary. I did it again. I went to say.
Oh my gosh.
Damn it, Josh. This is what happens. This is what happens.
It's not that hard.
Nope. I'm just gonna keep calling it anniversary now.
Okay.
Special 50 anniversary episode. I'm here with the lads as always. I'm here with Isaiah over here, surviving.
I'm struggling to become the next champion of Chaos Undivided. Nurgle's the current fight that I'm fighting.
Surviving, but not thriving.
No,
oh no, go for it. Sorry.
Say the grandfather gives his blessings. Too bad I didn't fucking ask for them.
Breathing, but not. I don't.
Actually,
Respiring? Is that the word you're looking for? Respiring?
No, I was literally trying to think of anything better.
Do people get chosen to become like, Nurgle zombies and stuff, or does Nurgle just fuck? He's just like, infection. It's fine.
It depends. If you ask Papa Nurgies for a blessing, then you will probably get one if you do enough weird evil shit. Like if you shit in your company's water fountain enough, he'll probably toss you something. But he also just goes, oh, look at this random planet. Walking pox. Have fun, guys.
It'd be a real shame if someone were just to corrupt it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, what's that? Dick maggots? Okay, cool, guys. Here you go. Here's some dick maggots. And you're like, that's such a crisp high five.
Jesus. And as always, here with Josh as well.
I'm here, but every time we slip closer to me deciding if I should be here. Oh.
Okay. But before we
Every
do
day a
anything,
darker hour.
I don't even know where to continue with that one. You alright there, bud?
Just ignore me. No, it's fine. Just ignore me. Yeah.
Before we begin our 50 not anniversary special episode,
God damn it,
Josh, do you want to take it away with you want to take it away?
Yeah, if you've been listening for 50 episodes, you haven't hit the follow or subscribe button on the podcast platform of your choice, you better hit that fucking button or I'm coming to your house. I'll know. I have your addresses. No, seriously, please hit that button, though. Please? It'd be nice.
How are you getting their addresses?
Don't worry about it. I'd like to go over 30 followers on Spotify, though, so if you could, if 3 more people, just hit the button, please. That's all I ask.
Tell your friends, tell your grandmas, tell your grandmas, tell anyone.
Yeah, and also,
likes dice.
Important thing here. If we say something blasphemous or stupid in an episode, please tell us why we're wrong in the comments. Stroke the algorithm pee-pee. That's all I ask.
Can we just... I can't get out of my head. Fucking Paladin was talking to us, and he's like, I can't believe you said the arcane build in Bloodborne was shit.
Yes.
I literally don't remember saying that at all.
I don't remember it saying it either, but I'm mad at him for not saying it in the comments section.
True, he should have commented.
Should have commented. That's all I'm saying. He could have commented, and then I could have argued with him in the comment section.
Okay, hold on, Brett. I'm gonna try and find the episode, and I just need the audio file of them shitting on the arcane stuff, and just splice it in right here,
right now.
Chief, I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
And now that's over. So today, upon request from the boys over here, and I know I've mentioned it on and off again, I've been thinking in the back of my mind of wanting to do a somewhat campaign diary of the 3-year game that I keep bringing up, as that is the big, like, most of my DMing experience has
the
come
campaign
from.
retrospective.
Campaign retrospective, because I have actually, I forgot it. You guys know I'm a note taker. I fucking bullet point shit down. I didn't realize how crazy, like, the amount of notes I took for that campaign. I dated shit.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I'm like, wow, past Matt, why are you Why are you so on the spectrum like this? Like, what happened? Like,
That
what?
sounds like a living hell.
It's crazy because I didn't think. I'm like, yeah, I take notes. Yeah, of course I take notes. It's me. Of course I do. And then I look at like the shit I've done, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? I don't even remember taking all these.
Isaiah, that's the opposite of a living hell. That's great information to have. What are you talking about?
No. That's entirely too much.
To write down a date on your notes?
Yes.
It's not that hard.
Oh, it can't be asked.
Yeah, I did that I even do that as a player. I did it for both the.
Same.
I did it for both our games with Sam, and I did it with
Same.
the Icewind Dale game. Just because I wanted to reference and make sure I knew what the fuck we were talking about. If someone's like, hey, do you guys remember this NPC? And I'm like, scroll. Yeah, I think like, it says here 3 weeks ago we met him, and, Shane kicked him in the nuts and threw him down a cliff by accident.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Why did we do that?
I will say,
I'm
my
better just
current...
doing that off the dome.
I don't
No, that's extra
believe
brain
you.
space. I have what is known as full brain, Isaiah. I need that space of random like cartoon and anime nonsense to be filled in there, and D&D
Needs
facts.
JoJo fun facts to be in there.
JoJo fun facts. So I need stuff written on paper or digital paper, so it doesn't just store up in my brain lockers forever, where, I should probably have important information like, my parents' birthday and other things like that.
I mean, listen, as a player, I'm definitely pretty fast and loose when it comes to notes. Like, I don't stress them too much as a player, because as a player, I have such a smaller window of things to be concerned about that generally I can remember what I need to remember for the game. As a GM, though, I'm often rotating, 8 plates at once. So to make sure my plates are all in a reasonable order, I gotta jot it down. Like, there's no otherwise, even if you remember the plates are there, they're gonna start doing some weird shit. All of a sudden, one of the plates is behind you, another plate's on the floor. It's still spinning somehow, but it fell and it's like on its side. Another plate's defying gravity. You're pretty sure, like, you gotta keep them like in order. This is
No.
I mean, you know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna let Isaiah be a psychopath in the corner. It's fine. You have fun, Hannibal Lecter.
You know what? I will keep everything in my mind palace. Thank you very much.
What are the brain computers in 40K? What are those things called?
The cogitator units, yeah.
I can't wait till like the near distant future, and it's just gonna be Isaiah's like, I made it, I survived. Just as a floating little robot brain.
I like how you reference 40K, and I immediately thought of the Sybil system in Psychopaths.
Yeah,
I never
too.
played I never watched.
Played?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I'm mixing it up with a video game.
So there's a great little fun fact for you about 40K. So the big Mechanicus guy at the moment, Belisarius Call.
How do we always end up
Definitely
here?
no, it's fine, don't worry. He definitely made an AI called the Call Inferior, and it's like 500 brains that form a supercomputer. That's basically an AI, and the Primarch that's alive right now, and he's like, you made an AI, didn't you? He's like, what? No, it's not
such a thing?
Look at all the brains. It couldn't be an AI. It's just my brain that I downloaded into all these smaller brains because my brain is too big. And he'll answer any of your questions. And he's like, this is an AI. This is an AI, Belisarius. We stop bullshitting. He's like, what? No.
That does.
What's that? I'm sorry. I got a call on the other line. Hold on. Don't worry about it.
Cerebro, enhance.
There's another fun fact. There's a new game, or not, maybe it's not new. It's called Blackstone Fortress. And it's a board game for 40K. And one of the characters you can play is a man of iron, i.e. a functioning AI that slapped an Imperial logo on itself and just pretends to be a part of the Mechanicus. So they don't find out that it's an AI.
What a loophole. What a workaround. Both of those examples. What the fuck?
It's so funny.
All right. Well,
But
get us away from 40K, Matt. I beg of you.
all right. So the Horus Heresy.
Bro,
Okay.
I'm so sick of hearing about it.
That's like the only like thing I know that like annoys fucking 40K players.
Oh god.
But yeah, I guess before, I guess a little backening story, if you will, for the game. And I mentioned this in the backening, yes. In the origin episode we did, episode uno, one would say. I mentioned this, and I won't go over everything in detail like I did then. But TLDR, Buddy Joe got me into D&D. I played in his campaign for a little bit. My first time playing D&D. That campaign lasted about 6 or 7, 8 months maybe. And he got burnt out and had to leave due to work. A lot of other players began, kind of leaving and not wanting my gaming table to kind of die out, this new hobby. I took up the mantle of DMing and been basically running ever since. And that game, I basically, for the first half of it, most of it was me building the train tracks as the train was hurtling towards me at lightning speeds.
Yeah, Matt, you made a very, very fatal flaw. You picked up the GM mantle. And what many people don't know before they pick up the mantle, it's a cursed item. You can't unequip it.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, it's weird because I like the curse. It's just,
Some people do.
Sometimes, I towards the end of the 3-year game, I got burnt the fuck out. I got so burnt. It was real bad.
Yeah.
But I like it. And
although clearly you didn't get that burnt out because you went back to the same game, and that's psychopath behavior in my book.
No, I think that's normal. Most people still, like, after they run a campaign in whatever game they really like, they'll go back and play a campaign in the game they really like.
I don't think I've ever run 2 campaigns back to back in the same. I think every time I run a new game.
I feel like that's relatively unique.
Yeah.
It may be. Maybe. But I'm pretty sure that's... I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm pretty sure that's true. The one exception maybe being... No, that wasn't back to back either. Never mind.
Was it what, 4th edition maybe? Like way back when you started?
Nope. No, I was gonna say the one exception was Stars Without Number because Stars Without Number had its initial release and then it had a revised version. But I'm pretty sure we played 5e in between them, which I think was actually the first time I ran. So that wasn't back to back. And then I did go back to Dungeon World, but there was a game of Apocalypse World in between there, and also potentially a Shadowrun. But like, I've gone back to systems, but not one right after the other.
Yeah.
I think ever. Unless you count me being a player, that's different.
Well, this is more GM.
Yeah, like
so
on the player side, I've gone back to 5e multiple times in a row,
Yeah.
but that's because on a player side, I'll just say yes to whoever invites me because I'm like a starving dog on the street. I will take any amount of food. Please let me be a player in anything. I don't even care. If it's
you want to play the level 20, 1 D&D's Nuts playtest game?
This is very awkward that you're bringing this up while you're recording.
It's just the first thing because you mentioned it. You're like, please, I'm starving dog.
You did just say anything.
No, I know. Well,
I'm
here's the thing.
hungry.
I am honestly... The premise, I am kind of like whatever about. I actually don't really care about testing the 1 D&D level 20 characters. However, it'll probably make good content, so,
Yeah, that's why I figured just to try it.
Oh no, we've hit the point of doing anything for content.
I mean, I wouldn't say anything. I'm just saying it seemed like a good idea. I don't actually necessarily want to do a level 21 shot, but whatever, it might be. Although, actually, I will say the Planet Terras thing does sound kind of hilarious, so.
That's the thing. I love that. I read that adventure. I want to run it, but now that I'm not really doing like the normal Mad Mage shit, I can't use it. So, this is gonna be this will be a fun one. But
anyway, audience, now you're hearing us planning live.
There you go. Yeah. And then we'll record the whole thing.
No, we're not doing that.
Oh, goddamn. Guys, you want to see another Let's Play out there or live play or whatever the fuck we call it? You want another like D&D like podcast thing? There's only like 12 million of them. You want to listen to another one?
There's only 12 million of them, and 11,009,999 of them are 5e.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, the Hive.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. What else? Oh, I will also preference that during Joe's game, Joe's early campaign, which I never really talked about exactly what it was. It's kind of like he was doing like around the world in 80 days in basically fantasy Europe kind of deal. So we'd go from different like actual places in the world, but throw D&D shit in there.
Fantasy Europe,
and he did,
otherwise known as default D&D.
And he did let me run a one shot for him because he wanted. This is kind of roughly around the time before he wanted to take a break. And then the campaign unfortunately ended. I think this was literally like one of the last like sessions before the campaign ended too. But I did the reg, just to see if I could do it. I wanted to try it out. And it was like the whole, the joke of like, oh, my character got kidnapped and the players have to go rescue them, all that shit. So that was my one experience of running the game. And then I was like, okay, this isn't bad. And then when it came time to actually doing the campaign, again, building, half of it was building the train tracks as the train came to me. And then right around the time I got to maybe the end of the first major story arc when the players were like level 7, 8, then I actually okay, I finally have a plot and I can finally throw actual adventures, not actual adventures, but throw adventures that I've built and world build and all that crap. Because before, I didn't even have really a setting. I just picked a name. I just kind of made one up at the spot. I drew a random map on. There's a free website, Incarnate, I think. Mm-hmm. Made a bullshit map. I had no fucking idea about geography or how it worked. It's like the same thing that people give Matt Mercer shit for when he made Tal'Dorei, and people are like, oh, actually, Mr. Mercer, that's not how rivers work. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm not a fucking map maker, so sue me.
Yeah, I hate that shit. Listen, let it go, people. You're not a cartographer. Your GM's not a cartographer. Your mom's not a fucking cartographer. There's not a lot of cartographers on the planet. Let it go. Just let it go.
Which is funny because then
I just think of the there's no alleyways in Manhattan.
Oh my fucking god. Matt, do you remember that?
That fucking guy. Yeah, I think you've mentioned it on here.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
It was definitely on here. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. I was just curious if you remember.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I remember it because you've told it to us a couple of times, but I'm like, it's so funny. Such a fucking dickhead.
Such a dick move.
But yeah, I didn't really. I just made up a quick map and I made some areas. And yeah, it mostly when I did the session 0 for the game, because I had no fucking idea what I was doing at the time. I kind of just basically asked my players. I'm like, hey, what are things I'm gonna add into? What are things you want me to do in the campaign? What do you like? And mind you,
all right. Well,
also
you're on the right track there.
Yeah. Mind you, also, the group that I'm starting this campaign with, only one person stuck through the rest of it. Everyone else that would left or got kicked out for various reasons. And now, basically towards the end of the 3-year game, that is now my core group, my core gaming group. And that has been the core gaming group for basically the last year, and now the last year of that campaign. Into now I'm running Strixhaven, and now we've been a really good gaming group, and we've been gaming for 5 years together. So it's kind of nuts.
Not that we need to harp on this point or anything, but kind of interesting. You were, you're talking about I was building the train tracks in front of me. I didn't have a a setting, I didn't have a world or a setting planned out. And you were just kind of talking about it oh, I was a dum-dum that I didn't do this. But that's actually how most people start.
Oh yeah, I've realized that now.
Yeah, I think a lot of new GMs don't tend to realize this, or people who are, I shouldn't even say new GMs, people who are aspiring to be a GM and haven't started yet don't tend to realize, but they think everyone has a Tal'Dorei as soon as they start their first campaign. Well, but most people just say, oh, we're going to play D&D, and everyone just assumes the setting is going to be default fantasy land that vaguely looks like Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. That's basically what I did, because I literally was this is basic fantasy world. All the fantasy stuff is in here. One of my players was like, so Matt, what are the deities in this world? I'm like, whatever it says in the player's handbook. I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm.
Fucking I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that
I'm all of them.
That is literally how most GMs start, because I don't think a lot of people realize that like D&D even has or needs a setting, which is weird. And I think this is kind of unique. Well,
you say that, but I kind of like as much as people are like, I know a lot of people don't like the Forgotten Realms. I like it for the same reason that a lot of people like Taldore. It's basic fantasy land that is already built for me. I don't have to do shit. It's built for me.
Yeah,
I can just use it.
I'm not like anti Forgotten Realms. I know some people are.
There's a big people now, especially with all the multiverse. I know I hate the multiverse shit. I mean, with all the multiverse nonsense coming up now, it's like, all this bugbear can be in any setting. Whoa, and it's like, all right, sure. What about basic fantasy land? Like what? Well, can I get a starting point, please, wizards?
The point
being, take away the starting point.
The point being is not liking or disliking this setting. All I'm saying is a lot of people come into D&D with this assumption, or lack of assumption, I guess, that the game doesn't have a setting. It's just Fantasyland, or the game doesn't need a setting. It's just Fantasyland, and it's kind of a weird, unique thing in tabletop to D&D and other big, like Pathfinder probably also has a lot of this. Anything that's like big high fantasy, I think a lot of people don't tend to think about or even consider that the setting is a thing. Whereas with a lot of other tabletop games, the first thing people look at a lot of the time is like, what's the setting? Is it a cool setting? Which is like a weird dichotomy.
Cyberpunk is all about the setting.
Cyberpunk's all about the setting. Anyone who gets into Shadowrun, the first thing they get into is the setting. Anyone who gives a shit about like any sort of weird, like it's a fantasy game but different because of X reason, get into the, D&D and Pathfinder sit in a weird place where people don't consider the setting, and then new GMs don't consider the setting, and then setting questions come up and they feel confused and like, what am I supposed to do? But really the moral of the story is do whatever the fuck you want. You don't need to have anything written in stone when you start.
Yeah. Because I think like even up until like the midway to the end of the campaign, I didn't do a lot of world building. Like each place I made like a page, maybe a half a page of notes of like NPCs, quests, places of interest.
Oh, well, I don't even do that now.
Yeah, but that's about it. That's the extent of like my quote unquote world building. I made my setting more sandboxy, where it's like, if my players go here, there'll be shit to do there. If they don't go there, it's fine.
If my players go here, this place exists. If they don't go here, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But like, what's funny is the way most people start, like a lot of, like I said, people have the assumption that you have to have a setting. You don't. What usually ends up happening is you start your game and you have no setting, and then you finish your first campaign, and then when you run your second campaign, you spend way too much time coming up with a setting, and you go in the complete opposite direction. That's what most people do. So really, the moral of the story is here: just do what Matt did. Just start running the fucking game. Get in there. If I can pick up the book, you'll survive.
And you know what's funny? Because I did the thing. I watched a shit, like I mentioned in the first episode. I watched a shit ton of Matt Colville videos. I ended up looking at the DMG. I watched a couple videos with Chris Perkins specifically talking about this subject, and the biggest thing constantly he kept getting was start off small. Have the players start off in the village and then expand the world out from there, and that's literally what I did. And I was like, all right, whatever.
You only need a village, if that.
Yeah, that's it. And I mentioned it a couple episodes ago too. I literally just ran the Dillian Tomb. That was my first session because I was like, you're going to play a D&D session tonight with your friends, but you don't have a game. What do you do? With me, it's like, huh. that was basically what happened.
I do find it funny that you actually literally ran the deal.
Yeah, it's surprising. Like if you go in not even the way back machine, but if you go back into the early like Matt Colville like videos and the subreddit and stuff, a lot of the people have run the Dillian Tomb, and a lot of people, I'm very surprised at how many people actually did the same thing. Actually, I shouldn't be surprised that a lot of people did the same thing I did, because he literally told us to.
Yeah, he did.
He literally told us in the video. And now I don't know if, whatever their new game is, he literally stated that they're going to make basically the Dillian Tomb again. They're going to update it for whatever the new MCDM game is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking sick.
So, I remember I mentioned that.
So it's a really cool one, like literally it's a one shot idea. Like, and I did the thing I mentioned. I had the players, I had Kal-El, the villain, show up, but they never fought him in that because that was just the tease for later on that he's the big bad of the, and he ended up being the big bad of the arc. Although the one thing I truly regret is not changing his art from what on the cover of the Keep on the Shadowfell adventure for 4E, the starter adventure. They have a picture of him, and he looks so fucking metal. He looks awesome. He's like this bald, evil wizard, Staff of Orcus, all this shit. In the book, he looks like knockoff Jafar. And I'm like, God damn. And that's all my players kept making fun of him for. I'm like, and then at the time, I'm like, stop making fun of my villain. But I'm like, God damn it! Why did he had the beard and everything? The only difference was instead of the big poofy hat, he had a skull hat, like with the two horns. I was like, fucking God damn! Why does he look so fucking funny?
It's kind of funny. A lot of GMs have the same reaction as you, where they get mad, like, stop making fun of my villain, and it's actually a good thing if your players are making fun of your villain, because it means that they're remembering your villain. He's like, he's in their brain. Yeah. He's thinking about, they're thinking about them, whatever. Like, it's actually kind of a good thing that they're taking the time and mental energy to roast your villain, because it means that they are having an emotional reaction of some kind.
Oh yeah. It took me a while, because again, new DM, but it took me a while to be like, oh, that is actually a good thing. It's fine.
It is. It doesn't seem like it at first, but it is.
Yeah,
so,
I've definitely done the thing where I'll have NPCs make fun of the villains to just be like, it's fine, you can do it. It's all right. I won't get mad.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of times the players in my game currently have talked about how they're going to beat the shit out of a child. Is it who the villain is, right? It works.
I cannot. Josh, please just use the Vecna staff block. Just be like, it's like, all right, you little 13-year-old little shit. I'm gonna give you the fucking atomic wedgie. I cast Finger of Death. Wait, no.
I mean, it might not be the Vecna staff block, but something will happen.
Oh wait, what's the Harry Potter thing? Deleticus.
Yeah, if you're a GM who's fresh to the table and you listen to this, it's okay. Let them roast your villain. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Unless they start roasting you in place of the villain, that's bad. Yeah. That's bad.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't. Yeah.
If they come after you personally, if they come after you personally, then it's bad.
Yeah.
I had a situation where the Gator Man villain, paladin for a year was like, I'm gonna turn him into fucking boots. That's it. I mean, I'm turning him into a pair of fucking boots. I'm done. And then they killed him, and he was like, all right, so I take out my dagger and I'm turning him into boots. And I was like,
he actually did it.
No. And then they had to get into some dirty water, and he's like, no, my Gariel boots, no, these are authentic.
I think my favorite part about that character, Isaiah, is when you showed me a picture of what the actual crocodile you based him on looks like, and he's so goofy.
Yeah, that's why I loved.
So derpy.
Yeah, no, if you don't know, look up a Gariel. I believe it's a crocodile.
What's it spelled?
Gharial. Yeah, a Garial or Gariel. They're big, the big chubby boys with real thin snouts,
real thin faces,
and
those guys.
They look like they're constantly smiling.
Yep,
they look like they look real derpy. They're just like, hey, how you doing, guys? How's things? Big goofy nose. They're probably terrifying. They'll probably murder the fuck out of you, but they look funny.
Bro, it's bad now because my parents are soon to be retiring to Florida, and now one of my cousins is like, hey, did you know that the alligators or crocodile, whichever reptilian lives in Florida? Gators. I don't know. Gators. They're learning to climb fences now, and then she showed me a video of one.
Holy shit!
Climbing a fucking fence, actually with its arms and everything. Not climbing the fence and knocking the shit over because it weighs 1,000 pounds.
Climbing up and over the fence?
It climbed the fucking fence.
Holy
and I'm
shit.
Evolution is horrifying. If the AI doesn't kill us, the climbing gators are going to kill us.
Here's the thing, right? Florida's a stand your ground state.
True.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason there's a reason you can easily buy a shotgun in Florida.
It is.
You just gotta look at that crocodile when it climbs the fence, and it's like, your kind ain't welcome here.
That also reminds you of I think it was Matthew McConaughey video where he's like golfing and there's a gator on the field and he literally just walks up to it, slaps it as hard as he can on the tail, and the thing literally jumps in the air like 3 feet and dives into the water. I'm like, nice. My God, sir.
I mean, they are kind of stupid, checks out.
Yeah.
Say that.
Fuck, I had a question.
Seriously.
I had a question now. Shit. All right, so you end up being the GM because the other GM taps out and you take up the curse mantle. And you're like, all right, we're gonna do this thing. You run the Delian tomb. You have your sort of whatever your little intro bit. You show Calorel the Vile, who's your villain, sort of step. I do find it funny you also use Matt Colville's favorite villain as your villain.
It's funny because he literally, I'm like, this is such a good premise that I just want to take again. And again, a lot of this shit I have here in my notes, a lot of shit I used for my campaign, I stole from somewhere, warped it into my own thing, and just plugged it in, and it was fine. Like stealing, great artists steal. Like,
the Delian tomb. So I guess I'm just curious. After running that initial Delian tomb adventure situation scenario, what was the vibe on your end of it? I got this shit. This shit's easy, or oh fuck, I've made a poor decision, but now I can't tap out. Like, what was the train of thought?
It was like someone just fucking, shot heroin into me. Like, I was just like, this is the best feeling I've ever felt in all of feelings.
Oh.
Yeah, because it as someone who is a creative person, I like writing, I like drawing, I like making silly voices, and I like acting. D&D encompasses so much of this. Like, also, like, as a kid, like, I used to play pretend all the time. Like, like D&D does all of that and more. And that's kind of why I really all right, tabletop games, yes. But for me, because it was D&D, I'm just gonna say it, like, D&D was the first thing that got me, like, I can incorporate everything, like, all the nerdy hobby things I do, like, all the skills that are useless to society, but I've been leveling them up for no reason. I finally have a purpose to put them somewhere, to voice this outlet.
That's like, listen, I know nobody really makes pottery anymore, but I like ceramics. Fuck off.
Exactly. Yeah. No, pottery's still, but
not
it was
like handmade pottery.
It was an amazing creative outlook for me. And it is still a good creative outlook for me.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, I mean, that's how I get my creative frustration rocks off for sure. Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, no. Afterwards I was like, this is great. I kind of went overboard too for a little bit, and I was like, I never want to stop. Like, I want to just keep running. And
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I distinctly remember the first time I ran, and after the session, I was kind of like, woo, that was tiring. But then my brain kicked into overdrive and I was like, what if we did it 3 times a week?
Yeah.
We didn't. Yeah. We didn't. But that's where my brain went. My brain went there quick. Yeah.
Yeah, because one of my players was like, God, if only we could play 2 times a week. And then the dark voice in my head was like, yes, what if we
the Kermit in the Darth Maul robes came up like, do it. Or Darth Maul, Darth Sidious.
Sidious, yeah. And then I had the good crunk on this one shoulder. It's like actually, no way, he's got a point. It's like right now.
Yeah, and I guess if another thing I am gonna say, if you're listening and you're thinking about starting like to run, the 2 times a week or more than once per week, it's not manageable. But even if it was manageable, it's not actually better.
No. Because
what happens is your energy just gets split across the 2 sessions. So you think you're gonna like get more done. You don't. You just spread your spread the mental energy out a little bit more. And it loses a little bit of the like gusto. You don't actually get more done. So it seems like it'd be a fun, cool idea to just have a ton of time and run wherever the fuck you want. It's not. It's really not. Like, it's good to have it set in a schedule because it much like when you're, again, this doesn't, I don't know, this probably applies to normal jobs in some way, but as someone who doesn't have and hasn't had a normal job for a while, when you're dealing with a creative type job or a job related to the creative field in some fashion, like, or a job that you don't have a set schedule, it's good to make yourself a schedule because it kicks your brain into working mode, not working mode, working mode, not working mode. And it's good to flick on and off. And if you're trying to run a game multiple times a week, you're not going to be able to flick as easily. Anyway, so where did, because I know your game turned chaotic fast. So where did we go after the Delian 2?
So, actually, I just want to mention like the characters that I started with, like the group. Oh yeah,
that's good. What's the PCs?
Yeah. So the PCs, I had a human. I started everyone off at level 3 because that was the thing that everyone online at the time was like, just start at level 3. Doesn't matter. It is stupid. And my players really wanted that too. It was like one of the other things they asked for, and I'm like, sure, fuck it, whatever.
I don't suggest that to new GMs though.
Yeah, I realize it now, and a lot of my players now in Strixhaven, because we started at level 1, and now because a lot of time has passed, they're only level 4. Well, a lot of my players are like, this is neat. Like, I actually like playing at low levels because like you get to fight a lot of like cooler lower monsters, and you don't have to like
lower monsters you never see.
It's more dangerous and shit. Like, even though like players are fucking strong as shit, even at 4th level.
Not but like
I
can level 5, not really.
Yeah.
Like they're
not maybe.
They're not as like, it's still D&D, you're still fantasy superheroes, so you're still more durable than a lot of other games, but you're not as crazy sub level 5. There's a much, I think a lot of players, oh, this is too much of a tangent. I shouldn't go down this path. I shouldn't go.
Are you sure? I mean,
I think 5e
TLDR
is
TLDR
very fantasy. 5e is very fantasy superheroes. There's a big power curve. There's a big power fantasy to 5e, and I think a lot of players think that they want that. But what you find out is that power fantasy, a lot of it gets old kind of quick. And
it gets boring because you're not challenged and everything's a cakewalk.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, there's a lot of factors to it, and we could probably talk about that entirely as its own episode.
That happened in the 3-year game.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I also did, I did the thing, literally, I watched a video where Matt Colville said this, and then he's like, learn from my mistakes. Don't do this, but it was fun anyways. And I'm like, well, clearly I have to do this. And I gave magic items out like fucking candy.
Oh yeah, that's a big no-no.
Yeah, super big. Like, after, like, because I was like, it's fine, fucking whatever. After the Delian Tomb, as a reward for, like, because one of the things was they went to the Delian Tomb to save the blacksmith's daughter.
A Vorpal sword in the Delian?
No, but I gave one of my players, like, +1 sword that did poison damage or some shit. So, like, yeah, dumb shit a level 3 character should not fucking have at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
granted, it's poison damage, but,
yeah,
fucking still, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the power fantasy stuff, everyone thinks it's a great idea, and there's a bit of fun to be had in it here and there, but there's a balance to strike, and handing out the magic items in particular, I think the big problem is if you hand out magic items like candy, what you very quickly realize is that your players just don't give a shit about the magic items anymore because they have so many of them that they're like, man, we'll get a different one later.
Yeah, because now in the Strixhaven game, I'm a little more strict on some of the magic items and now they just went dungeon crawling, so they had they found some items. This was like not the first time, but this is like the first major time where like they dug and found treasure. They went through monster lairs and did little mini dungeons and found treasure like normal D&D shit. And now one of my players found an item that I rolled on a table, ended up being really expensive, sold it, and now he's like, finally, I can buy plate armor. And I'm like, you're level 4.
Yo, actually, I'm like,
man, what do you mean finally? You just hit level 4.
And armor progression is something that D&D seriously. No, I can't, no.
But like,
I'm
no,
going
but
into, my
still,
brain's
like,
going into game design mode. But hold on.
But again, with the magic item stuff, it's like, yeah, now I know. Don't hand out magic items like candy, or if you're going to do something like
Make
that,
them worth it.
Which is,
can fight for it.
well, that, or what I do is now I've been doing a lot of consumables.
So that's what what I was just about to say is, don't hand out magic items like candy, comma, with the exceptions of the kind of
there's consumables like potions, or I like from Sly Flourish relics, which are basically like magic items that work basically once a day. Like you can cast this spell through this magic item once a day. So if like the barbarian, like I don't know, like he needs a spell for some reason, or the mage finds a I'm trying to think, or the paladin finds a sword and it gives him like searing smite. He's like, great, now I never have to waste the spell slot on the spell.
I wasn't gonna go down. I wasn't gonna mention those, but I guess that's also a way you can think about it. But I was gonna say
examples of like
something that D&D doesn't have, so D&D has this, but they don't make a distinction very clear. Is like magic items that are like smaller. So okay, Shadow of the Demon Lord has this where they call them trinkets. And it's like trinkets are minor magical items that are relatively common. So like a potion is a trinket, right? Like they're common enough that you can find them on a kind of regular basis, but they still have a certain magicalness to them, which still adds, like, it's still fun because they have a little bit of a magicalness. I think it would help a lot if D&D was a little more clear on that, like what is sort of a trinket and what isn't.
Yeah,
they did it a little.
Commons, there's common items.
The commons, like the cloud of billowing, the pipe of shadow smoke. Like,
no. I'm talking about items that are actually useful though. Like a lot of the commons don't actually do anything. They're just goofs. Like the cloak of billowing doesn't do anything in the game. It's just for like, LOL, it's a cloak of billowing, or the dread helm makes me look spooky, right? I'm talking like minor magical items that are trinkets that actually do like they're beneficial, but they're not full blown magic sword. Like a little bit of an in between. Like that's what I said. Like the potions and scrolls are trinkets in that nature.
Yeah, I can see that. Like that's definitely another consumable.
Yeah, like those you can hand out much more readily, and it's not gonna blow the lid off things. Anyway, Matt, fucking get us back to where we were.
So after that, oh wait, shit, I didn't even go over the players. That was like the thing I wanted to do. So yeah, level 3, everyone level 3. So I had the my buddy Wolf. He's the one guy who stuck through. Like he and I met in Joe's game, and he has been like the one continuous player throughout all the games we've been in. Fucking love the guy. He's the one. He played the human fighter warlock.
Oh yeah, he's the power gamer.
Yeah. We have Sammy, who she kind of quickly changed characters. I had the thing where her first character was like a half-orc barbarian, and then didn't like playing a barbarian at all.
Understand.
And then switched later on. I'll get to her main, basically her second character became her main character and a staple throughout the rest of the fucking game. Although that one was a druid barbarian, the barbarian, which wasn't even better, but it's what it is. Another one was I think it was just Aarakocra rogue, which was a weird choice. And then that player didn't. They kind of left after a while. I don't remember that guy's name. And then the other player, and again, all of them were players in Joe's original game, and then like that we all kind of wanted to stick together. And then the other guy, who is a Goliath blood hunter barbarian. So I had 2 barbarians, a fighter warlock, and a rogue right off the fucking bat. And then me being the DM being like, they don't have any healing.
Oh no, what did you do?
So what I ended up doing was the thing that a lot of DMs do, and now I realize is not a good idea. I made health potions half the price. Yep. And I did the rule that health potions are bonus action sake, which I still do, I do it, you get it once once one time, the first time on combat for free. So the first time on combat, you can use the bonus action, like you have a health potion tied to your waistband or something, so it's easily accessible.
Health potion.
Yeah. But then the next health potion you use, that one's going to cost a regular action, and it's also an action to feed it to another person, regardless if it's your bonus one or not.
Yeah, I mean, the potions as bonus action ones is like, that's okay, whatever. Half pricing potions, though, I don't think was a good idea. So many people fall into this trap that assume that D&D uses the Holy Trinity. Doesn't, and it's just like, god damn it.
Well, I did another thing.
At least I should say 5e doesn't. I can't really speak on the older editions. They may have relied on the Holy Trinity more. I think people have said that 3rd edition relied on it more, but 5th edition definitely doesn't. You can totally have a 4-man fighter party and be totally fine in 5th edition. But
yeah, 100%.
I thought you were going to say you made a cleric NPC.
That is what I was about to bring up.
God damn it, man. I knew it. I knew it.
I found, there's an image online from, I forgot the artist's name. She's the Kit Bus, I think. She's the one that did Critical Role's original art. Campaign 1 art, yeah. She played a character that was like, I think a pink tiefling or something. And so I found that art, and I was like, ooh, I really like this. And I basically made her, a cleric NPC. And her whole joke was her last name is Joy, so she was Nurse Joy. And so anytime, the idea would be the party would see her, she's a traveling nurse, so she would travel around all the time, and so they just bump into her, like, anywhere they went. That was the original idea, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she played Lilith.
Oh shit! Yep. Oops. But then she ended up becoming not only just kind of like they became a close NPC with the rest of the party, a friend, and also a love interest of one of the characters in the group, anyways. And she was like the first real NPC I made for the game too. All
right, so she wasn't traveling around them 24/7.
No, she wasn't traveling with them. I was just gonna have them show up everywhere like the party went. If they went to a town, oh, she just happened to be there, that kind of deal. Which that only lasted like 2 sessions, two cities or towns.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the time, because the players were going up against Kal-El a lot, she was helping out the resistance against Kal-El and helping players and all that shit.
Matt, you need to respect on my Kal-El's name. Vile.
No, Mr.
Vile deserves respect. How dare you?
Yeah, I loved playing him too. Actually, I don't know, did I ever mention to you guys too that I actually did a one-on-one session with actually, before I do that,
are you skipping ahead? This feels like you're
skipping ahead. Yeah.
Let's not do this.
So, well, that is ahead. So yeah, that was the main party. It did not end off this way. So afterwards, the party were like, okay, what are we doing? The rogue, in her backstory, all the players had they met in the tavern. This is the whole dealing. Did the whole before the Dealing Tomb bit. I just had them in a tavern. A bunch of thugs showed up and were being dickheads. And then the whole part with the bartender, Matt Colville, was like, "Oh, just don't start any trouble, please." And one of this one fucking Giga Chad, I even specified. This was before the Chad meme, by the way.
Okay.
So I just said this big chin fucking guy just stroll up to the party, acting all cocky and stuff. And Sammy, who's playing the barbarian at the time, she's like, "What would barbarians do?" Yes, I would like to cut off his chin. His big chin.
I love the logic of what would a barbarian do? Senseless, unnecessary violence.
She
That's
didn't
what
know.
barbarians
She's like,
do. I fucking guess.
Her older brother is notorious for playing nothing but dwarf barbarians. So she's like, well, what would he do? Because he gave her notes on what barbarians do. And so she's like, yes. So I must show dominance by cutting off his chin.
No. He didn't give her notes on what barbarians do. He gave her notes on what he does.
He would do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she rolled a natural 20 and basically almost one-shot this fucking guy.
Oh my fucking Christ.
The funniest fucking thing.
Did you imagine? So the fucking Giga Chad man's up in heaven. So how'd you die, bud? some barbarian lady cut off my chin and I just like had a cardiac arrest from it. Like, I don't even know, bro.
Yeah, no, it was great.
That's so like, I mean, I'm not even surprised. That's a very new player behavior. Like, what do we do? I don't know. Wanted chaos? Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, basically.
That is something new players do quite a lot.
Yeah. But then from there, they kind of afterwards, they did the Dillian Tomb, they came back, and now they're like, the rogue in her backstory wrote that, oh, I'm trying to retrieve this book. I have to go to the next town over. Can you guys seem pretty capable. Do you guys want to come with me? So the group's like, yeah, sure. I got nothing better to do. And they all traveled with her to the next town over. And in the next town, I made it, a little bigger village. It's like they start off at a village. Now they're in a town. And I specified that this town, one of the things they had, because I was like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And blood hunters just became a big thing online. And so I'm like, ooh, you know what? I'll have a blood hunter school here because one of my players is a blood hunter. Genius, man.
Your choice, but all right.
Right. And so as the party are, they're going along, they're trying to help this NPC get this book. They got the book, and then all the while they're dealing with a bunch of like undead here and there because Kal-El is a necromancer, and he is now the new like lord over this one territory that the players are at. And so they're like, man, this sucks. Like, this fucking necromancer guy, like, there's all this undead everywhere. Everyone's upset. And so when they go to the blood hunter school, because they found, and this is one of the things my players wanted, they love the idea of notice board missions. So one of the notice board missions was, hey, come to the blood hunter school. We need help with this thing. So they're like, okay. And they go there, and this is where I introduced them to the blood hunters and the player, the barbarian blood hunter guy. That's where he kind of learned about his powers a little bit. And they were given a quest of, hey, normally we go hunting for griffins off in the forest, but something's been killing them. Can you go find out for us? And so they went exploring and they found this hidden lair. And this is where my players got their Drake pet. And this is where I first got the idea of the whole dragon cult that ended up becoming the major bad guys of the end and the rest of the campaign. And this was like maybe like 3 or 4 sessions into the game.
Wait, what about Kal-El the Vile?
Yeah, he's still, this is a side quest.
Dragon was a side quest?
Yeah, Dragon was a side quest.
Name not a side quest?
No, well, yeah, basically it was more so foreshadowing that, hey, this dragon cult's probably going to be a bigger problem later on. That was the only thing that was, I was meant to do. Also give him a cool dragon pet.
I assumed Kal-El was intending to level 20. Sorry.
No, he was the major villain for the first arc. They fought him and killed him at level 7.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, he was only, and I intended him, I only wanted him to be the first villain of the major arc.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was not
you thought he was my main bad guy?
I thought I kind of assumed you started with him as the main bad guy, and then through some series of wacky events, he ended up not being the main bad guy for whatever reason.
No, I ended up, so I wanted him to be the bad guy, and then I wanted it to be like, the anime thing. I was like, there's always someone more powerful. So when I actually started kind of world building, now I'm like coming up with ideas. I thought of this cool idea of like, I want like the ruler of this country right now, this guy, I don't even remember where I came up with the idea for this. But I wanted the ruler to be, the big tyrant. And then again, because I steal fucking so much shit, I just named him the Invincible Overlord, like Matt Colville did for his main bad guy.
Damn it.
Because I had no idea what.
Not even trying to be subtle.
No, none of my players watched him, so they were like, "Oh, shit."
Fair enough.
So it's the thing. It's like if the players don't know, then it's like it seems like, oh, this is such an original idea, genius, Matt. And then meanwhile, sweating bullets, being like, "What's your idea?"
Yeah, I mean, it is true.
Matt is the picture of the guy where it's like, hey, I made this. Can you hold it for me? I made this.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
listen, I'm not making money off of it. Fuck you.
yeah. No, it's true. No, it's fine. It's fine. It is funny though that it's like, you know, it's true that, you know, the more obscure your reference, the less likely your players are to get it, right? Like if we were playing in a game that I was running and I had a bad guy named the Dominator, you guys would not immediately know that I'm referencing the Black Company, except you would now because I just told you. But like, you know, so it would seem like, oh, the Dominator, that's kind of a cool idea, even though I'm just literally stealing the name of the bad guy in that series. But the Invincible Overlord as a name is just... It's just real milquetoast. I know, like, come on.
I know, but at the time, I thought it was cool, and I really look up to Matt. So I was like, you know what? This is fucking.
I guess.
And I didn't take I just took the title. I made him my own, like, kind of like paladin.
Yeah, right.
Like, dude, I gave him his own story later on. And basically, the idea was that the Invincible Overlord took over the land, took over the country I think like 20 years ago. And basically broke the country up into different like territories, and gave each one to, you know, the whatever ruling faction. And then like my setting, what I ended up doing was like, you know, whatever was the most populated, like kind of like player ancestry race, whatever. They, you know, they're their ruler because he took over the country against everybody's fucking will. You know, he basically just made whatever ruler at the time was, all right, yeah, now you're my subject. You're gonna still like you'll be in charge here, but you know, I'm still the fucking top dog here. So like I had a whole city of like an underground city of dwarves that I feel bad because none of the players ever went there, and I really wanted them to. I had a whole like, you know, elf fucking, you know, forest place. I had a big like industrial civilization place. I had and again, stealing a lot from Matt Colville. I'm sorry. He did a live stream where him and his Twitch stream made a city, and it was basically like an Arabian Night city of Dragonborns.
Last city.
Yeah, and they called it Collaborus, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I want to do that. And then I fucking took that, and that was like one of the high level areas my players went to.
I wanted to do it,
and then I did. Yeah, basically.
Because I'm a man with.
No, that's fine. Now when it comes to D&D.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, so Kal-El was one of these rulers. He was just given an area because...
Oh, he was like a goob lieutenant.
Kind of, yeah. He was a goob lieutenant. Yeah, basically he was an underling of the Invincible Overlord. Because what ended up happening was the previous guy who, the Invincible Overlords ruled the land for like 20 years. And the guy in his stead was actually trying to feed a somewhat underground resistance against the Overlord. And then the Overlord found out and basically was like, hey, Kal-El, if you take out this dude, you can have his kingdom. I don't give a shit. I want him gone. You could do whatever you want. You know, do whatever weird necromancy nonsense you want to do. Just remember, I'm in charge. So Kal-El was like, well, whole kingdom to necromancy. What could possibly go wrong? He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how the fuck did they end up with the Drake pet?
So the Drake pet, it was a side quest from the Blood Hunters, because their forest...
like a side quest.
Yeah, it was yeah. And
Ardell's not even here for me.
I know. The word side quest is tainted for me. And all I can think of
it only took several hundred years.
It's looking like a side quest. That's all I think of.
Here,
it only lasted one session.
I think the best part is where he's like out here, looking like a side quest.
It's the emphasis. It's the emphasis.
But yeah, the Blood Hunters were like, we usually hunt these griffins in our woods, but something's been killing them and melting them, and we can't find out where it is. And we have a lot of shit going on because the Blood Hunters, one of the other things is because they're Blood Hunters, Kal-El didn't really like the fact that there was a school of zombie hunters hanging around his territory.
All right.
So they were dealing with a bunch of other shit. And they're like, listen, we got the new semi-lord over here, like with his fucking undead army. like bothering us, sending us death threats all the time. Just go figure out what the fuck is killing the griffins in the forest for us, please. We'll give you gold, and we'll owe you one. So my player's like, yeah, fuck yeah, they owe us one, yeah. And so they go and they find hidden, like after exploring the forest for a while, they find a hidden little cave, and inside there they find a corpse of a guy who's been just mauled to shit. And on his body he had like a bunch of notes being like, hey, I can't hide I can't hide the dragons anymore from the blood hunters. They're gonna find out. I need to contact the people in the dragon hatchery and let the rest of the cult know that it's not safe here, especially with the necromancer ruler. And so my players are like, dragon cult? What the fuck? We have to deal with a necromancer and a dragon cult? Like the hell? And after they looked at the dude's body, they didn't realize, but huddled in the corner, hurt and injured, is the Drake. And so this was a black Drake, because fucking black dragons are the coolest, most metal of all the dragons.
Does Matt like black?
Yes. Fucking dude, look at their fucking face. They are fucking metal as shit.
Black dragons and their vomit breath.
That's right. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Their vomit breath that me, Isaiah, and Sam all assumed was more like mustard gas, and then the D&D movie said no. In fact, no.
No, that is poison dragons.
Yeah, I guess.
But they saw the Drake hidden and hurt in the corner of the room, and my players immediately I thought it would go one or two ways. Either they would do the new player thing of just XP in the corner, because this is also when I was using XP. So they're like, let's kill it and get XP. But they decided to try and like heal it and feed it. And so I'm like, okay, instantly bonds with you guys, because you were trying to rescue it. But what the players didn't realize was that above them, and they're in this like underground cavern, above them, there's an entranceway that leads to another like kind of opening, kind of like in The Witcher 3. There's a part where you fight, it's like a really big cockatrice or something, and there's a ledge hidden. There's like the cave hidden underground, and there's a high ass ledge that you normally can't see. Like even The Witcher 3, like you can't see the ledge unless you like move the camera all the way the fuck up. And it's like one of those things people miss constantly. And that's what I did. And up above, there were some black dragon wormlings hiding, watching the players do this, and then they dive bombed in and attacked.
That feels slightly unfair, though. Like, I ain't gonna lie, that's slightly unfair because in a video game, I have a right analog stick to pan my camera around. In a tabletop game, I have to like say specifically, and why would they think to mention? Oh, we look up. Meanwhile, like I'm just. Well, it feels a little.
Didn't you do that to us with the weird roper thingies?
No, I mentioned the big fucking rock in the way, and said that it was like weirdly placed.
No, but the thing that fell on our heads.
Oh, well, yeah, if you had gotten into the problem was they were already in the room and the drop, what are those called?
I forgot what those are called. Yeah, but the drop stingers things, or some shit.
Yeah. Those things, I didn't say anything because those turned on after you already entered the room when you aggroed the roper itself. So like, it was kind of a moot point by then. But if you had like snuck past the roper and gotten into the room, I might have mentioned something to like indicate, like, oh, there's like weird drips on the floor or something like that. Although I guess I don't know how Matt described the scene at the time. I'm just saying.
Describe the area, but also the black dragons rolled really fucking well on stealth checks.
Well, no, that's fine. But you could mention like in a scenario like that, I might be like, oh, you notice there's like a weirdly high up ledge next to you, or I might not even say that.
On the Roll20 map, they could see the ledge. I didn't. So I had the tokens on the GM layer.
Iffy.
I did the thing. I'm like, everybody, what do you guys do? Some people are like, I want to make perception checks. I want to make investigation checks. I want to try and feed the Drake. So people were actively doing stuff. The problem is they just didn't, unfortunately, roll high enough.
I mean, all right. If they had enough information to even, I'm just saying, I always want to make sure. I wasn't
trying to trick them. Yeah, that wasn't my goal. I was never trying to gotcha. That wasn't at all.
I always try to make sure that the players have enough information to at least think to look around a little bit. I'm not necessarily like giving them the details, but like enough to give you a little nudge, like consider it kind of thing. But if they had the map and they were looking around and just failed to check, then that's a different story.
Yeah,
that's not how you initially described it. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
And that was and that was my first
sense.
like deadly encounter with them. And then I think I leveled them up after that because I was like, fuck it.
How many black dragon wormlings was it?
I think it was like 2, 3.
At what level?
3? I don't remember. It's been a while. Yeah, no, it was a tough fight.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of brutal.
Yeah, I think I also gave them. I think the Drake ended up coming into the fight because they were like, they healed the Drake up and the Drake got attacked by the dragons.
I'm gonna protect mommy.
Yeah, basically, it's like I want revenge. Fuck these guys. But yeah,
so
they got the
why
Drake.
was the Drake abandoned? Or did you say that and I just missed it?
So basically the guy, the body they found was one of these dragon cultists. And so what the cultist I forgot in the notes what he said to the player, what he said in the notes as well was, I'm hiding these dragon eggs here. They hatched. One of them's not a fucking dragon, you idiots. It's a drake. Thanks. Oh no, the dragons are being really aggressive. They're killing a lot of the wildlife near the area. I can't control them. The Drake's the only one listening. Guys, rest of my dragon cult, help. Oh no, I'm dying. And then they basically it was that this guy was hiding these dragon eggs here for the dragon cult and basically stealing supplies from the blood hunter, the blood hunter school. But then the wormlings hatched, fucking up the ecosystem. A lot of people were noticing, and this fucking puny dragon cultist loser couldn't handle the wormlings because they're dragons.
What was the distinction you're making with dragon versus drake in this scenario? Like I know like visually and stuff, but usually they're like a subspecies. Or did you not think about it? Like, well, because the way you just described it, you made it sound like for the setting you were building, like drakes are different from dragons.
I mean, they kind of are. They're made from dragon bits. They're not like full dragons. They're like
I guess
they're basically like I think they even are technically monstrosity. No, they're dragons.
They're dragons. They're not monstrosity.
They're basically made when like you get enough dragon scales together. You put them in a pot. You do some magical alchemical nonsense. An egg is created and then out hatches a drake. And a drake is basically like a protective guard dog that also happens to be a dragon.
Is that like Forgotten Realms lore?
Yeah, that's in Volo's Guide, multiverse, whatever book, fucking Rise of Tiamat. That's their like lore, that they're not like a man. They're not a mad unknown thing. They're not just, you can't just like normally, you can always change this, but you can't just find a drake out in the wild normally. They are made by magic with dragon scales. So that was the distinction that this dragon cultist had. He just grabbed a bunch of eggs from this dragon hatchery, wherever this is, spoilers, and basically one of them ended up being a wormling instead.
I see.
And that the wormling was the one, not the wormling, sorry, the drake was the one that was the only one that actually obeyed him. And that the wormlings, because they're fucking dragons and dragons don't listen to anybody, they fucking just, did whatever they wanted. Also because black dragons are known to be kind of dickheads. Forgotten Realms lore. They don't give a shit.
True.
They like to torture their food. They like to torture people. They're evil for a reason.
Yes.
But yeah, after the whole Drake thing, the players got back to town, and when they got back to town, they noticed that Calorel was there with a bunch of, basically like a small squad of undead, and he was standing in front of the school. So the headmaster of Bloodhunter School.
What up, bitches? Yeah,
basically, in the headmaster's school and Calorel were basically having a shouting match, and basically Calorel was like, "Listen, I don't care that your school exists, but I know that you have the staff of Orcus. Just give me the staff and I'll leave your school alone." Which the Bloodhunter's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. What is that?
I ain't got no stick.
I just like the idea of like, we know you have the staff of Orcus. What? Don't play dumb. What's he talking about?
Yeah, basically.
I know you have it. No, seriously, what are you talking about? You stop. Is anyone else confused here, or is it just me?
Sir, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. And so my players, you know, they tried getting in between there, and one of them, like, basically the barbarian blood hunter basically volunteered the entire party. Will be like, Mr. Calorel, sir, listen, if you leave the school alone, we'll find your staff or whatever the fuck you're looking for, you weirdo. So he's like, all right, fine. He's like, you rolled up sundial watch. You have 7 days, and if you don't, I will necromantic blast the shit out of this school. And then him and all of his zombies teleport away. Which all my players were very upset by that, about what the Blood Hunter Barbarian did, because they did not want to do that. Yeah. And this is when I also, again, stealing from Matt Colville and then looking up the adventures online, this is when I introduced the Caves of Chaos to my players.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course I did, yeah.
Oh, well, to be fair, that's not stealing from Matt Colville. That's stealing from D&D 2nd edition.
True. But he was the thing. So he referenced that, like, again, really good books for, like, early DMs if they just need adventure ideas. Caves of Chaos and the 4th edition Dungeon Delve book. He highly recommended those books, and so many people, including people who still work at Wizards of the Coast today, reference the Dungeon Delve book because it's such a good, like, adventure idea book. It's just literally like, here's 1 or 2 pages, here's an entire mini dungeon, you can finish it in a session, and you can generate so many ideas, build campaigns off of it. It's great. And I ended up using a bunch of those encounters, trying to figure out how the fuck to do them in 5e, and then somehow not screwing it up random in 5e.
Fair enough.
Because again, the conversion thing that Wizards put out, not great.
Yeah, I mean, converting from 4th edition to 5th edition, there's no easy way to do that. The games are just really different.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, I'm sure they tried their best, but, like, that's kind of not an impossible task, but yeah, it's definitely not an easy one, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also now, because they had the Drake with them, the Drake became their pet. This is where I mentioned that originally I just used the Drake stack block, and then I kind of tried using the Dungeon Master rules for, like, leveling them up and giving them character levels. That didn't fucking work out. And then when the Essentials kit came out, fucking forever later, I just switched them to a sidekick rules, and it made my life and the player that was running them so much easier.
Yeah, that was weird. That's weird. I forget about that, because the first time I used them, it was in Tasha's. But yeah, the fact that the sidekick rules were actually in that Essentials kit was kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, because they were trying to play test and see about, because a lot of people were requesting one-on-one D&D. And so when they were like, all right, well, we need a new box set because we're going to stop really producing the Lost Mines of Fendelva for Target, we need to have a new box set. So their idea was like, let's do this new box set, let's throw out a couple of ideas. And people were like, ooh, if they buy this box set, like, let's say, like, couples, and they want to do, you know, one-on-one D&D sessions or single parents or whatever, they can just do that. And they have sidekicks, so they don't have to worry about, like, throwing, you know, a dragon at their the white dragon on the cover of the box at your one player and murdering them by accident. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
Like, yeah, I get the logic. It just feels weird that they put a pretty, like, useful and impactful mechanic like that into that kind of a book, because I feel like it got buried for a long time.
Well, it was the only way to get it. So also, like, scarcity, they wanted people to be like, ooh, if you want the new rules, go buy it. Haha.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And I'm like, you fucking.
Yeah, you got a point there. Yeah.
So then my players were like, okay, well, now we're on the hook for trying to go after after the Staff of Orcus, which, by the way, in normal D&D terminology, it's called a Wand of Orcus because Orcus is goddamn gigantic. But I hate that. I hate that it's a wand, so I just called it a staff instead.
Yeah, I mean, it basically is a staff. Like, even if you look at the art for 5th edition of Orcus holding it, that's not a wand. That thing's huge.
No, in 5. Oh yeah, no, you're
Yeah, in 5e it's about half his fucking size. He's huge.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, it doesn't look like a wand at all. It absolutely looks like a staff.
Yeah. I've seen the one art of him from 5. Like, it's the one where he's like over a pot and there's a bunch of mind flayers and shit there. That one looks like a wand.
I guess.
But like the rest of them, yeah, no, you're right. It's fucking huge.
Well, I always think of the one where it's him like flying, like he's like got his chest out. Hold on, let me see if I can find the art.
Is it the one from
that's the
out of
5e art?
Yeah,
that's his like
the
official
super dirty,
5e art.
grungy. I really do love that one.
It's hold on, it's this one.
I swear.
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking at.
Oh, that's from the Magic the Gathering setting.
Oh,
yeah, or setting. Sorry, the Magic the Gathering cards that just came out. Yeah, that one's really cool.
Yeah, that looks like a staff in that picture.
Yeah, it's
too.
fucking huge. Yeah, I don't know why it's a wand. It's a fucking.
Anyway.
Yeah, and he was. Yeah. So my players are like, well, fuck. Now we have to do this.
Now we have to fuck Orcus.
Yeah. So which the Blood Hunter.
Damn, Matt just breezed past me on that one.
What? Sorry, I didn't hear you at all. I'm so sorry.
God damn it.
I said now we have to fuck Orcus, and you just went, yeah. You just very casually went, yeah, and then moved on. I was like, wow, Matt just put me in the dumpster on that one. Know your place, trash. Like, oh, okay.
Top tier waifus in D&D I'd like to fuck. Number 15.
Number 15. Orcus the Black God, or whatever the fuck his edgy title is. What's his title?
I forgot, but he's basically the person who invented necromancy.
Yeah. He has like a...
The Prince of Undeath, I think.
Some shit like that, yeah.
Look how fucking edgy.
Oh, no, you literally got it. Yeah, the Demon Prince of Undeath. Oh, okay, also known as the Blood Lord. Which doesn't make any sense.
I love that.
The Blood Lord doesn't make any sense. Undead don't have blood.
I mean, it's all just like...
Well, I mean, vampires.
Don't have blood.
Okay.
No, that's why they suck blood, because they don't have blood. That's the whole thing with vampires.
They were just, vitamin D deficient.
No! I mean, yes, also that, but no. Also, there's no vitamin D in your blood, Matt.
Oh, whoops.
Not vitamin D.
That's not how that works. I can't just drink blood and be like, I'll never have to go outside again.
Just drink blood. Vitamin D's made in your skin.
Oops.
Anyway.
And out here.
It's fine.
He said they're vitamin D deficient.
Yeah, just go outside. You'll be fine. Fucking explode.
Yeah.
What's that one picture of like DM like here's your pre-generated character and it's like vampire light cleric. The guy's just like, what is this? You think this is a joke?
I'm just saying, there's ways you can make that idea work. I'm just saying.
It's a pretty funny idea.
It's a funny idea. Anyway,
yeah.
All right, so fucking not Orcus. Calorella Vile's like, give me the stick, you sons of bitches, and the Blood Hunters say, no, bitch, fuck off.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So he teleported away. Players volunteer to get his stick. Blood Hunters turned out
stick with an S. Stick.
They ended up, asking the Blood Hunters like, all right, what the fuck's going on? So they explained to them that our old headmaster went to look for the staff in the Caves of Chaos. Yeah, they went to look for it in the Caves of Chaos, which is near outside the main town that Calorella is taking over. Which I ended up, because the Critical Role book just came out, I basically just ripped the Whitestone map and used that.
Nice.
Yeah, just steal everything, guys. Don't worry, it's fine.
Matt just is a fucking...
Proponent of just steal everything and warp it into your own mishmash. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, to be fair, the creators of D&D do literally tell you to like steal the shit in the adventure books and use it for your campaign.
100%.
So, it checks out.
Yeah, I literally followed that. Like every time a new book come out, I was like, and I'm taking a page out of here and throwing it in there.
Unless, of course, your campaign is over like level 14, in which case they tell you to go fuck yourself.
But Yeah, so my players
so
are like,
they
all right,
gotta go to the Caves of Chaos.
so they gotta go to the Caves of Chaos. So one of the big things in the joke, actually, I should have mentioned this beforehand. After this, Joe, and I mentioned, no, not Maganello. Joe, my buddy, the one who got me the D&D, the one who ran the campaign originally, got burnt out, left, came back, and he's like, hey, can I play for a session as a character? I was like, okay. Played for a session. A session.
Oh.
And then just became another permanent player of the game.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And so looking back, I'm sitting here like, was it really work related, Joe? Was it?
Was it?
Not one of you. But
I mean,
it's all good because honestly, like Joe's such a good fucking player, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, outside of game workload as a DM is higher.
Oh yeah,
player. So you know, I understand it, but it is a little funny. Like, yeah, Joe, yeah, really.
But one of the things, because he played a human shadow sorcerer, and his thing was he wore like a lot of black clothing. He wore a raven mask. Like he was trying to edge it up really bad. Also, shit, I should mention, Xanathar's Guide came out like 2 to 3 months before my campaign started. So a lot of my players picked a lot of new shit from Xanathar's Guide because that was the newest book. So he played a shadow sorcerer, and one of the running jokes that happened in the game, because the players would every once in a while fight like one of Calorel's like minions, like another like mini necromancer, and I joked that the Calorel's minions always confused Joe's character for one of them. Because he just dressed so like dark and like a necromancer.
An edgelord?
Yeah. So they're like, Mark, who are these losers? What are you doing, man? Come over here and res this body with me. Come on.
Hey, yo, Mark, what are you doing, man? What's going on?
It's the fucking. Was it Will Friedle or yeah? It would when they're in the fucking Slayer's Take bit in the campaign 1 where they're like, Dale.
Yeah. So that happened like 2 or 3 times to the players, and it became a bit. And so the players are like, all right, we have to go to the Caves of Chaos. Joe, because he kept getting he kept getting mixed up as like one of the Calorel guys. He's like, wait, guys, I have a genius idea. What if I go undercover and pretend to be one of Calorel's guys, and I'll just kill him in the night? Genius.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? And so my players are like, all right, man. So we'll go to the Caves of Chaos.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I just need to refresh that sentence in my brain. He was trying to assassinate Calorel?
Yes.
Okay, bud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Joe wanted. He's like, all right. He's like, I'm getting confused for a lot of his minions. He's like, this is gonna be easy. I'll get in. I'll kill him. And then, the mission complete. We don't have to worry about getting the staff at all. And
in and out, 20-minute adventure.
Yeah, basically, and basically it's like, adventure. Hey, so if I don't listen, just wait for me. Give me a day. I'll meet you guys at the entrance of the Caves of Chaos. If I'm not there in 24 hours, assume I died. And so the players are like, well, that checks out.
Old choice, but okay.
So the next time the players run into one of these minions, like again, the same joke happened where the guy's like, Bill?
Are you bud?
Yeah, Steve? Like, what are you doing? And Joe wrote like a nat 20, I think, on deception. So he's like, yeah, man. Oh, dude, I got lost. Like, hey, let's go back to the boss's place. Like, I need to go there. So the minion was like, all right, man, let's go. We gotta teleport back out. So the minion and Matt Colville, I think he said this was from the Black Company books, like the whole red coins. Like Calorel was using these coins. Yeah, there was something about blood coins, like, and Matt did this when he was like explaining the Dillian Tomb thing, was like Calorel paid people for dead bodies with red coins, not gold coins, red coins.
He's referencing. Oh, so yeah. They weren't special coins, but there is a character in the second Black Company book who basically kills a bunch of people in the village he lives in and brings their bodies to this castle up on the keep that he doesn't realize is actually a cult of the Dominator, who's the main bad guy, and they're using the bodies to make, I think, zombie minion, like zombie warriors, basically, to help the Dominator return. Yeah, I didn't even. That's like the best. That's like the best book in the series too.
Okay. But like, I didn't know like what they did, so I just assumed like, you know what, this is probably, you know, he pays people. This is probably how his minions can like get back and forth between him and like his town. So the minion uses like, you know, I didn't fucking know, so I just was like, yeah, magic, you know, evil Kal-El magic, and they use the coin. They teleport to Kal-El's castle.
Yeah, it was. It was literally. It wasn't anything special. It was literally, he was just. They were paying him a lot of money for dead bodies, so he was bringing them dead bodies.
Nice.
But okay.
So Joe teleports there, and this was my first one-on-one session. So I was like, all right, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And basically when they got there, this is Joe saw that a bunch of basically what Kal-El was doing, and he had this like lab facility with a giant undead elder brain, like a mind flare elder brain, plugged into the device with a bunch of these evil necrotic runes and shit, and basically was using this to power all the undead around and basically control an army of undead throughout the city. That's how, yeah. And so Joe's like, oh fuck, I'm in way over my head.
No, you think? You think?
Yeah. So he's like, all right, he's like, all right, well, you know, I'm here. Might as well stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Yeah. So he goes. He goes, and one of the things that Joe, this, you know, Shadow Sorcerer character, did a lot was he liked to bake. He joked. He's like, I bake cupcakes, and people were like, are you part of a cult? He's like, no. Why? Who wants punch?
Who wants punch? Okay.
So he liked to bake, and he recently got a what do you call it? Pilfer of love. It's basically the thing that like makes whoever drinks it like fall in love with you. So he's like, all right. He's like, I just gotta feed this to Kal-El, and then I'll just kill him. And because I'm he thinks I'm his best friend, it'll be fine. Didn't happen. So he got. He met him and the minion NPC. They walked up to Kal-El. Kal-El's like, all right, I fucking got, this necromancy shit. I can't wait. I'm gonna blow the shit out of that blood hunter school. It's gonna be the best. I cannot wait. And Joe, meanwhile, was like, all right, I'm gonna go in my room. I'm gonna bake this, this cake. Kal-El at the time, and I thought this monster was super cool. His second lieutenant was a Tanaruk, which is basically like a demon-infused orc. So those guys
love those guys.
Yeah, super spiky, and that was his second in command dude. So Joe's
second in command implies that the Tanaruk has a brain, which I think they're generally pretty dim. But fair enough.
So, and the other thing, and this is the other thing I forgot to mention, and I mentioned it a while ago. When I ran the Dillian Tomb, one of the things the players, so when they went through the dungeon, at the end of it, there was a bunch of coffins, and I gave each player again, magic items, because throwing them out like candy. One of the things from Matt Colville that he took from his friend Jim Murphy was this idea of there are these super weapons, almost like the vestiges of Divergence that Matt Mercer uses. And they call them the Teeth of the Dragon. And I thought it was so metal. I'm like, all right, I want these super weapons in the game. They sound fucking sick. But one of my players has one of these. He has the white dragon, Tooth of the Dragon. It's basically a frost main. What is it? It's the ice sword in DMG, the +1 sword that deals frost damage.
Frost.
Yeah, frost. But that's the thing he got.
Brand.
Yeah, frost brand.
I thought you were referencing Frostmourne. I was like, I
think I was mixing it up. Yeah, I think I'm mixing them. Yeah, yeah.
Frostmourne is Arthas's sword in World of Warcraft.
That's what I was fucking up. All right. But yeah, he got a Frostbane. So this is one of them. And then the players
Brand.
Sorry. And they know they're like, okay, they're like, you know, they heard through the grapevine. There's like, all right, there's like 5 of these out there. You know, what? You know, it's fine. Like, we're probably not. There's 5 of them. This is a whole fucking country. How? You know, when are we ever gonna run into another one of these? The Tanaruk has the other one. Tanaruk had the black acid sword. And Joe's like, and then Joe immediately seeing that went.
Were they themed to the dragons?
Yeah, they were each one. Yeah, each one was themed to a dragon. So red, Destiny. So red, green, blue, black, white. And each teeth basically like dealt damage equal to that dragon. And then later on, I had them just level up with the party, kind of like vestiges, and they did extra bits and shit. And so this Tanaruk had the black one, and Joe, seeing that, went, actually, I'll have him kill Kal-El for me. What? So Joe, while he basically took the pill for love and he baked into a cake. And he's like, I want to give the cake to the Tanaruk guy. I want to try and find him like one-on-one or something. Can like, I'm a minion. Can I like try and summon him or send someone to summon him? And I'm like, yeah, sure. You meet him in the kitchen because that's probably where you're baking this shit. So the Tanaruk storms in and basically, you know, has no tolerance for this nonsense. He's like, why the fuck did you summon me here, you little shit? Give me one good reason why I shouldn't use your skull as a basketball. And Joe's like, I baked you a cake, Mr. Boss, because you are the greatest manager I've ever had.
I'll give you one reason not to use a skull as a basketball. Basketball's not invented yet, so I don't.
You don't know that. This is my homebrew world, Josh. You know.
I'm pretty sure basketball wasn't a thing back then. I'm just back in the Disney. I'm just saying.
You know what? I'm going back. I'm going to make it canon now. Basketball
exists in Matt's world.
All right,
confirmed.
But so Joe, you know, was like, I baked you a cake, and he rolled really high on persuasion. And the Tanaruk's, their stats not great. They fucking hit like a truck. But like when it comes to like their intelligence, wisdom, charisma, nah, nothing. Fucking dum-dums. So this guy's not very bright. You know, someone baked him food, and he's just like, I had him do the thing where he's like,
you hungry?
Yeah, and he literally took a giant like fistful, like smushed the cake in one hand, took a chunk and just started eating it in front of Joe and being like, there's no fucking meat in this. What am I? And then just immediately, you know, because the pill for love doesn't have a saving throw.
He punched the cake like Kratos. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Started licking the frosting off his fingers.
Give me them silver pieces.
That's right. So Joe now he's like, all right, I have the Tanaruk. He's like, all right, Tanaruk thinks this is my best friend. I'm like, hey, Mr. Tanaruk, okay. So Kal-El, he's a bad guy. We gotta take him out. Mr. Tanaruk's like, yeah, boss, that sounds like a great idea. Let's fucking go. So this is where and Joe is one of the notorious players who makes me do the hat flip thing where I'm like, where I'm caught off guard by a lot of the shit he tries to do. I didn't have a stat block for Kal-El until that session.
Oh no.
Because I wasn't planning on the players to fight him at all. So I scrambled and looking for shit that was tough, not too tough, and I found something online. I don't remember what fucking stat block because it was so long, you know, I was in such a fucking mad panic. But I found some sort of like magey necromancy thing, and basically one of the things that Kal-El can do, because I had him, like, he was connected to the elder brain, he could just, you know, summon any undead, whatever. So one of his other guardians that he had was a bone golem, basically a huge just pile of like hulking, like it's actually a huge size monster made of bones. So when Joe and the Tanaruk was like, all right, I want the Tanaruk, he's like, all right, Tanaruk, buddy, friend, what's your name? Fred. Okay, Fred, just go up and just beat the shit out of Kal-El with your sword. Just go and just stab him with the acid sword. I don't give a shit. Just murder him. So Kal-El is sitting in, you know, imagine you will, big castle, throne room, evil necromancer sitting there, you know, plotting necromancy things. All of a sudden, big demon orc man with a big acid sword comes up to him, stabs him right in the kidney, while Kal-El is sitting on the throne,
just chilling, having some tea.
Yeah, basically, he's just plotting
his soaps,
as villains do. And so a fight broke out, and like between the Bone Golem, Kal-El, and a couple other zombos, Joe managed to basically he almost got Kal-El like actually down because of the stat block. But Kal-El had a lot more minions, and he had a lot of higher spell slots left.
Wait. So Joe was like, I'm gonna fight Kal-El, and you just had to like pick a fucking stat block on the fly?
I just picked, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, which after that session, I went and did, actual like work and actually found a like appropriate stat block.
After that session, I killed Joe.
Yeah. Why? I almost
my bare hands.
I almost
No, Joe the player, not the character.
Joe the player. Oh, no.
You killed Joe.
So Joe managed to get Kal-El down, chased him around, and then I wanted to foreshadow something that like another like powerful magic item they had. So Kal-El had this orb, this like kind of black, not a sphere of annihilation, but almost a pondering orb, if you will, or some shit like that.
Pondering orb.
So Joe broke like
his
Kal-El
orb upon which he ponders.
Yeah. So Kal-El ran away from the fight, and while the orc got fucking decimated, by the way. So Joe's like, well, my bodyguard's gone. I might as well go after the boss and ignore the golem. And Joe chased Kal-El down to his office, found Kal-El with this pondering orb, and basically Kal-El's like, he heard a voice in like, some ethereal language that Joe didn't understand. And then realized, and I specified saying, you see the wounds on Kal-El beginning to heal. And to which Joe took that and went, I need to leave now. And then basically just jumped out a window. Survived and managed basically after he's like, all right, I'm gonna go to Caves of Chaos now. I've done my work here. I've done my job.
He shrugged and went, I tried. I made a hard attempt. Give him a best shot.
Oh yeah. So the first one-on-one session was real fucking dude.
I just like his logic though, being like, well, if I get the big orc man and it's me and the big orc guy, I can probably take out the big bad boss. What could go wrong? I'm sure it'll go fine. Like, sir, in what land does that make any sense? What?
Why not? Why not try?
You did your best, bud, I guess. I don't. Okay. I feel like if that were me, I couldn't help but just absolutely dunk on the player in question. Like, I feel like if you're trying to fuck with the big bad guy, I mean, he wasn't the final BBEG, but it's like, if you're fucking with the big bad that early on, I'm gonna slap you around. Like,
well, again, it's kind of like, think of it like an anime show. It's like he was the main bad guy, the big bad guy of this season.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, it's still like the fact that you tried to fuck around with him so early. I feel like I couldn't help but punish him a little bit in some way. Like,
well, he almost died. That was the punishment.
I mean, I guess I don't. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, like he almost died in the fight. He almost died jumping out of the window.
That would have been. He survives the fight, leaps out the window, breaks his fucking neck.
Yeah. So he and basically made his and then basically was like, all right, I kind of know the general direction where the Caves of Chaos is, right, Matt? And he's like, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And so the next session,
I wander my broken body over there.
Was literally the party just waiting for him and being like, yeah, I think Joe's dead. I think he's dead, guys. So I think we just got wasted a day. We got 6 days left to find his staff. I think we're fucked. I think we should just go in now.
I like the mental image. The party's all chilling, making s'mores, and hanging out the night before. You're like, so what do you guys think Joe's up to? I don't know. I hope he's okay. Next day, he comes crawling on the floor with 2 broken legs up to the fucking camp.
Yep.
I'm alive. And they're like, wow. Well, shit. All right.
Yeah, basically. and they assume because they're like, oh, you survived, so you must have killed him. So we don't have to go in these caves anymore. And he's just like, about that.
Yeah, no. No. Back in the caves we go. Or into the cave. Not back. Into the caves we go.
And this is where they, I did my first kind of dungeon crawly type of adventure, which originally I wanted to use like the actual like Caves of Chaos dungeon and the map. But at the time, I didn't fully understand like the map and certain sections of the map and the layering and everything. So what I ended up doing was basically like, all right, you guys are and I just kind of set up a bunch of different dungeons and locations and things that they would find along the way, and then just had players pick directions from the Caves of Chaos map.
I mean, to be fair, also the Caves of Chaos in the original incarnation of it, second edition, was intended to be an entire campaign's worth of a dungeon. So it's real big.
Oh yeah. No.
So it wouldn't really make sense for you to use it anyway.
Yeah. But no, my players they did a lot, and I got to use a lot of cool monsters. A lot of random fucking scenarios too. Like one of them, like one of the first encounters they found was there was a stone giant wearing a sheriff's badge, and he was trying to police the caves. This is like big cave tunnel. So my players are like, you're not the boss of me. You ain't the cops down here. Fuck you. And then the stone giant literally Yamcha'd 2 of my players. Like, left him in a crater, them curled up like Yamcha. Because he fucking
got him.
He scored like 2 crits on the players, and they're like, I'm dying.
I have several questions about the logic of an ogre cop in the caves.
It was stone giant. Stone giant.
I have several questions about a stone giant cop in the Caves of Chaos and how that
I don't know.
occurs,
I don't know why. Okay. I don't know why I did that.
I don't know why you did that either. That's what I'm questioning.
I was like, it was fun. It was a funny thing. Then after that,
I guess.
Then after that, that's when and I took this from Horde of the Dragon Queen. There's a whole dungeon called the Dragon Hatchery. It has a lot of dragon cultists, a lot of drakes and stuff. And so I'm like, oh, I'll put this in the Caves of Chaos. It makes perfect sense. And my players finally went there. They went throughout the whole dungeons. They learned a little bit about the dragon cult. They learned about where the Black Drake's name was Razir. This is where they learned about, this is where Razir came from and what his deal is. And that they're like, oh, so drakes are made. They're not actually like, they're not owl bears in a sense where they're like, they were made thousands of years ago and then thrown in the wild and now they're a normal thing. They're just an alchemical weird magic monster. Okay.
Same, bro.
Yeah. But this is also where, and again, at the time, I didn't understand, and again, throwing magic items out like candy, and my players were like, fuck, we're not finding any magic items, what the fuck? They kept complaining about it, so I'm like, all right, fine, fucking, yeah.
Well, they weren't finding candy? Like Reese's or like Jolly Ranchers.
Like I gave out magic items, but I remember them specifically being like, we haven't found any like major thing. So I'm like, okay. And I think I fucked up royally when I did this, because I rolled on a higher table than because I changed the boss of the dungeon to be the fire, the elemental Myrmidons.
Yeah.
They're like elementals in armor.
Yeah. So
they beat that. That was like the final boss of the whole dungeon. They went to like the area where all the cultists like hid their treasures and shit. And I gave them like a bunch of like, cloak of protection, like all this other shit. Like really like rare stuff that level, I think they were level 5 or 6 at this time. Like a bunch of stuff that players at that level shouldn't have found all those at the same time. The biggest thing that I should not have done, but it was hilarious, is I gave him a Freedy bottle.
Oh.
Which people who don't know what an Afridi bottle is, it's a very, I don't know if it's legendary, but it's a magic item. It's a genie in a bottle. Specifically a fire genie that hates your fucking guts.
Yeah.
So, and when you first open this lamp, the Afridi bottle, you roll a d20, and if there's 3 options that can happen. The genie grants you 1 wish. The genie tries to murder you.
Nope.
Or the genie owes you 3 favors. And so at the time, above game, I had the joke with my players. I'm like, all right, guys, the only thing you can't wish for is killing Kal-El. That's it. And they're like, damn it. Fuck, that's what we wanted. That's going to be our one thing.
Well, that's where you monkey paws the situation. Kill Kal-El and then something replaces him, right?
Yes, I'm Mal-El the Bile, his evil twin brother.
Say they kill Kal-El, but he comes back as a lich.
As a lich,
like,
yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Damn it.
Oops.
Yep.
But, and they ended up rolling on the table to get 3 favors from the genie. And the Afridi, the Afridi, he despised the fact, like the whole thing with Afridi's, like they think they're like superior above all other fucking, you know, genies and other races. So the fact that this one is like, I have to help you. He's like, I cannot wait till my 3 favors are up.
I hate you so much.
Yeah, he kept saying, he's like, I cannot wait till my 3 favors are done. I'm gonna go back to the fire plane, get my boys, and I'm gonna burn the shit out of all of you. I'm going to use your bones as kindling. And they're like, yeah, all right.
Jesus Christ.
They're like, all right, dude, Jim, whatever, fuck off, just help us get through this dungeon.
So, by the way, just you know, in case you're curious, the Afridi bottle is a very rare major tier item.
Yeah, and
you gave it to about level 4?
Level 5 players.
5? Yeah, that's
actual madman.
Level 5 or
hilarious.
6 players.
That's hilarious.
Also, so this is around the time too. So in that dungeon, this is where this is all, again, by this time in the campaign, we've had a lot of people kind of coming and going, except for Joe, Sammy, and Wolf. One of the new players.
So wait, yeah, well, that's right. I forgot about the player swap up situation.
Yeah, the other players. So yeah,
how many original players were you at this point?
So I had only 3 technically. Well, Joe came in like literally the 2nd or 3rd session.
So you had 3 out of 5 original?
3 out of 5 originally, yeah. The other
so 2 players left at this point.
Yeah, 2 players left. Oh, sorry, 1 player left. The Blood Hunter Barbarian, the one that made this fucking deal in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah, he left the game.
You don't even remember.
Yeah, because so basically him and a couple of the players, you know, there was a lot of infighting going on, and eventually a lot of the group was like, you know, he was kind of rude and he was a little obnoxious to a lot of the players. So a lot of the players were like, okay, hey Matt, kind of, we want to kick him off the island. I'm sorry.
Get rid of his ace.
And I felt really bad because the player was nice to me, but they fought a lot between a lot of the other players. And it was starting to, like, the players did not want to deal with him. And I'm like, I can see, like, the cracks going, and I'm like, all right, fuck.
Well,
so unfortunately,
crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember you talking to me about each of these major significant situations as they were going on while we were still in school. Like you being like, I think I'm going to start a game up, and then you're like, I think I got to kick this one player out. I'm just like, oh, I remember when that happened. That's crazy.
Yeah. Because I was in school with you guys during all this too.
Yeah. I kind of remember the I'm gonna start a game up conversation. I don't remember talking about kicking this guy out. I may not have been around.
So yeah, he left, and actually, sorry, the bird person rogue, she swapped characters to a high elf blood hunter, because after we got to the town and they met the blood hunters, they're like, oh, blood hunters are sick, I want to be one of those. And I'm like, fuck, all right, fucking goddamn.
And then I had a party of 6 blood,
basically. Yeah. And then this is where my buddy Chris came into the picture. And now Chris is the shadow monk. He's another, now he's part of my main group. The main group now is Joe, Wolf, Sammy, Chris, Nano, who's going to come in later on very soon, and now Ragnar and Jake. That's my main group right now.
Ragnar the Blood Edge.
Yeah, Ragnar is the dwarf barbarian and nothing but the dwarf barbarian.
Yeah, no, I know. That was a joke for Isaiah I was making there.
I laughing is hard right now, but I was
know.
laughing.
I know. Right? Yeah, Ragnar the Blood
I'm
Edge.
you Nurgle.
I know you don't get the joke, Matt. It's okay.
That's fine. But yeah, this is where Chris came into the campaign. Again, Chris was a Pathfinder guy, and he was a buddy of
Chris
Wolf's.
Cox was in your game? That's unfortunate.
Crazy.
I know. His brain's just in my mind because of a certain, debacle that happened. What could I be referring?
But yeah, he joined the game, and he's a big Pathfinder guy, so he's like learning, and he's like trying to learn the rules and everything. And this is also he's a big Magic the Gathering fan. And around the same time, Magic the Wizards of the Coast were starting to make these free PDFs online called Plane Shift, and they were set around different planes of Magic the Gathering.
Those free PDFs that these days they're like, no, we didn't make those.
Yeah, basically.
What are you talking about? Never made that.
And they're
Didn't
really
happen.
cool ideas, and eventually that's what became a Ravnica and the other MTG settings. So when the Amonkhet one, the basically Magic the Gathering version of Egypt came out, he's like, ooh, I really want to play a Kenrin, like an Anubis person, Jackalman. I'm like, sure, fuck yeah, why not? I don't give a shit. And basically, he played a Shadow Monk, Jackalman, rogue kind of dude who, shadow step people, backstab. I also homebrewed, which now looking back might have been a bit much, but at the same point in time, he could have just done it with daggers anyways. Because he really wanted to use the monk, like, shadow, he wanted to punch people and have his sneak attack proc off his unarmed strikes. And so because I'm like, you know what, fuck it, yeah, why not? Because it makes sense for your character. And again, he could have done it anyways if he just used the pair of daggers. It didn't really matter if I said he could or not use sneak attack.
It's weird. I never even thought about the.
Yeah, normally you can't. But like, the only real difference would be, I mean, there wouldn't be a difference besides, oh, I have daggers, and now I don't have daggers.
Yeah. Well, actually, the difference would be the dagger's damage doesn't go up, but unarmed strikes.
Well, it would because it's all martial arts die goes up.
That's what I'm saying. The dagger.
No, but your daggers could become a martial arts weapon. The monks can either use they can use daggers, I think, for their unarmed strikes isn't that a new? Isn't the? Oh, that might be a new Tasha's thing.
That's
actually,
the new, I was gonna say that's
thing.
the key fueled weapon. I don't think you could do that back then.
Oh no, well
you could.
No, wait.
Back then they had the monks have always had monk weapons.
Monk weapons are daggers. Yeah,
a monk weapon was fucking ridiculously convoluted. It basically was just if you have proficiency with this, when you take the monk class, it's a monk.
Yep.
But now it's like you can bring other things into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah, I remember that because we looked into it, and then after a while, I just kind of was like, "Fuck it," which is how a lot of this campaign kind of went. Was like, "Yeah, fuck it, why not? What's the worst that happened?"
Yeah, fuck it, why not? Was like
the
motto of the fuck it, why not? Was the motto of the campaign.
Yeah. So he joined in there, and then this is when I told the story of the Drow outpost and the Pale Drow. One of the things I forgot to mention in that. I feel like you should reiterate that for this. I could. So after the players got the Ifriti bottle, the first favor, they're like, fast forward us through this fucking dungeon. We want to go home. We are on a time crunch. So the Ifriti's like, all right. So the Ifriti basically like, I kind of just basically like, all right, the Ifriti's gonna guide you. You just have to follow him. And it led them through. Yeah, it didn't like teleport them. No.
I was thinking you were gonna like time dilation the dungeon and make like time and space fold in on each other. So like walking down the 2-mile hallway is actually only 5 feet long or some shit.
No, Jesus Christ, no. But no, basically they booked it following the Ifriti. The Ifriti at first led them into a Hydra lair by accident. By accident, quote unquote.
Yeah, I was gonna say by accident.
Yeah. I mean, it helped fight the Hydra with them, but he's just like, damn it, they should have killed them. But then it led them through. But then it led them to the Drow outpost, and basically by the time they got there, he's like, all right, your 1 hour favor is up, fuck off, call me back later. And it disappeared. And basically, like, because the free, each favor, the genie helps you for like an hour. So they got to, after the fight with the Hydra, traveling, they got to the Drow outpost. And when they were there, they looked up, and only I think 2 of the players spoke Elvish, so they're like in Elvish, like, "Hey, directions, por favor." Drug, like, and so one of the and like I mentioned, that this Drow outpost was connected to the city of Menzo Branson, or my players and I think we joked with like Webtown or Webtropolis. I forgot what we fucking changed the name to, but basically big Drow city. And this was like the front gate to Drow City. And so, a Drow leader came outside. Basically was like, ugh, fucking surface dwellers, gross.
They smell like suntan lotion.
Yeah. And so they're like, and only really one of the players was like, because they're like, do we know shit about Drow? We're like, what the fuck is their deal? What's with all the spiders? Because they're like, some of them were new players. Only really one person was kind of experienced. So they rolled history, and only one of the players was like, yeah, Drow, normally they're evil. They like to take slaves from the surface. They worship a demon queen. And so while the other players are trying to be like very civil with this one guy, the player that knows is in the back sweating bullets, being like, guys, we need to leave. We need to go. We need to leave.
See, this is where you fuck with the players, and they ask if they know anything about Drow, and you say the one thing you know of for sure is they're really horny for spiders.
Yeah.
You just fuck with them.
Yeah, so then the Drow was like, all right, get off my fucking property, go follow this tunnel, and you'll get to wherever the fuck you need to go. Get off.
Skittery scoppity, get off.
Yeah, get out of here, sun seers, you fuckers.
Get out of here, SPF 50 motherfuckers.
So as they're leaving, I mentioned this in the podcast. This is where I had Morton Came and Tome of Foams just came out.
What?
Yes. And in that book, there was a Drow stat block called the Shadow Blade, which is like this Drow Shadow Assassin kick-ass dude, CR11. Yeah, super edgelord. So I'm like, okay. So the Drow, like thinking this would be just a cool encounter thing, like a spy that the players wouldn't know about, but like I could hint at it, and this guy would follow them throughout the dungeon, and maybe I'll have him when they get to the staff. Maybe I'll have this guy try and steal it from them. Not actually successfully steal it from them, but just try, just to like fuck with the players.
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Didn't get that far. So Chris, again, like I mentioned, either because his characters are paranoid or he is paranoid, he's like, Matt, I want to see everything. I'm making perception checks. I'm looking all around. I'm making sure that no one is fucking with us right now. I'm like, okay. And he rolled like a natural 20 or something really dumb high. So I'm like, okay, you spot like way off in the distance, like, within the edge of your dark vision, you notice that there's someone following you. So Chris, thinking that this is going to be super like, a sick maneuver, pro gamer move. He's like, all right, I'm gonna shadow step behind the dude, and I'm gonna be like, all right, you need to tell me what your business is. What are you doing? I want your credit card information. I want your social security number. I want your address. What are you doing?
This is what you call a pro gamer move.
Yeah. And so he thought he was threatening this guy that they ended up dubbing the Pale Drow, because I found a picture of him, and basically people, like you can imagine a gray skinned Shredder.
Yeah, he literally looks like Shredder.
Yeah. The Shadow Blade, because it's a CR11 creature,
beat his ass.
One shot Chris. Yeah. Like made it like within one turn, knocked him out. And Chris was like super taken aback by that. He's like, what the fuck?
Chris was like, nunny. Yeah.
And all the players immediately went, oh shit. And as they go to save Chris, because I had the Drow Shadow Blade, and then I just had a Mook like Drow warrior, like a low CR Drow with them, just to have like another body. That Drow was carrying another person like in a net. And that was my buddy Nano, because he just came into the campaign. Nano was an old player in Joe's campaign who had to leave early as fuck because of work or school or something. And then after he had more free time and had like our game nights free up, he's like, hey Matt, like I heard you started up a campaign. I heard Joe's ended. Can I join in with you guys? I'm like, all right, fuck, that's a lot of players. All right, we can do this. So he hopped in, and this is also around the time that Z Bashu made the Bill Murray wizard video, where you pick a halfling wizard diviner with the lucky feet. And he saw that and was like, I want to do that. And I was all for it because I thought it was hilarious. So
remember this.
Yeah. So he made that character. He made the halfling wizard, and yeah, basically never rolled, constantly like rolling dice like a motherfucker the entire campaign. And I just killed 2 dragons. Crazy. But yeah, and so the players, they killed the one Drow, they rescued Nano's character, and then the Shadow Blade was like, all right, I'll be back. Don't, take your lumps. And just, he also has Shadow Step, so he Shadow Stepped away.
I just really love that Joe, or Joe? Whoever tried
Chris.
whoever tried to dunk on the Pale Drow. I just love that my man came at him like fucking Polnareff versus Dio and got the same treatment of like, oh no.
Yeah, and again, and I mentioned in the villains episode that the Pale Drow guy became a villain and basically became Chris's like main like
Arch nemesis.
Yeah. And so after that event, the players went through a couple other little mini dungeons. One area they
I'm sorry, I'm just now imagining your player at the table just meets the Pale Drow again. Dio!
The question is, did the Pale Drow do the shadow step and just bring him down a flight of stairs 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, right. Did he push him down a flight of stairs? Because he should have.
I should have, damn. That would have been good.
Fuck.
But yeah, they went through a couple other dungeons. One of the things they ended up doing, which my players hated, is there's a trap that they put in Xanathar's guide. It's like a hallway trap with scythe blades and shit. And if it made them, there's a bunch of magic runes on the wall that make them do wisdom saves. That they fail, they have to walk backwards back into the swinging scythe blades. And so they fucking hated it. And I thought it was hilarious because it was such a cool trap, but they did not enjoy the hallway at all.
They were not fans.
No. And so I was like, okay. The last they finally found the last area of the dungeon, which so my players at this point are level 7. We have Joe, Wolf, Sammy, Nano, Chris, and the other player, well, whose name will be I'm gonna leave their name out because
Scrubbed from the memory books.
That and no one is on speaking terms with that person anymore. So just for anonymity's sake.
I think you've brought this player up on podcast.
I've never said their name.
No, not their name, but I think you mentioned them being blacklisted. I feel like this feels familiar.
Maybe. Maybe one of the times, but anywho's they find an area. It's a big, actually kind of like marbled out place, and there's a shit ton of statues, human statues, adventurers, everything all over the place. So my players are immediately like, oh fuck, it's a Medusa. Oh, this is bad. They end up seeing that there is a like Durgar with a stone leg who's getting the shit kicked out of him by these 2 troglodytes. Players kill the troglodytes, they rescue the Durgar, and the Durgar basically tells them, no, you don't understand. Like, you don't understand the shit we're in now. He's like, my boss, he's like, he thinks himself an artiste. It's not a Medusa. And they're like, well, what the fuck? They're like, what do you mean it's not a Medusa? You see all the statues? They're like, no. My boss is a beholder who just loves turning things to statues, including people. Ugh. And they're like, oh. They all, as soon as they heard the word beholder, they're like, Matt, we're level 7.
At which point you look at them and go,
I love when the players have to go full mask off. And they're just like, dude, we're level 7. What the fuck?
And they're like, what the fuck are we supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
Like, we can't beat that.
At which point you look at them and go, shrug.
And then my players are like, all right, well, it's a beholder. We're not dealing with that. Hey, Durgar guy, come with us. We're gonna rescue you. You can come chill with us, hang with us. We're trying to look for the staff. And the guy's like, oh, funny thing. The beholder has the staff.
Yeah.
And then my players once again were like, Matt, what the fuck?
Matt, bro. It's like, all right, well, just help us find the staff. Yeah, my boss has that too. Oh, come on, man. What the?
Yeah. So my players being trying to be Joe was like, all right, guys, don't worry. If this worked once before, it'll work again. He had one more pilfer of love. He's like, Matt, I'm gonna bake a cake.
Oh God.
And I'm gonna feed it to the beholder. I'm like, okay. And the Durgar had 2 other like Durgar bros. And so the Durgar with the stone legs, like, my 2 friends are they're gonna embiggen themselves, and they're gonna lock all the troglodytes in their cave. You guys have a minute to deal with the boss before all the troglodytes come in. And so my players, all right, fucking cap, then we can do this. This is great.
No cap.
They go up. Yeah. And this, I used the Volo's Guide to Monsters. They came out with a bunch of cool maps and stuff, and I used the Beholder map from there. So, I made the Beholder. He's, regular Beholder, lair actions, everything. Joe was like, "Oh, great and mighty Artiste Beholder, I have come to give you this delicious cake." Joe, forgetting, none of the players really exactly knew how Beholders fully worked. The Beholder, their main eyeball, shoots a beam, basically a non-stop ray of anti-magic.
Yeah. Anti-magic gun.
So when Joe held this, and also Beholders are super paranoid.
Yeah.
So Joe held out this cake. So this Beholder, a stranger, comes to visit him, offers him cake, and the Beholder basically just shoots anti-magic at, is looking at the cake, and then turns to Joe and just says, "You first."
Lamau.
You eat the cake first.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, I smushed the cake into his face. And then the fight ensued.
My man's like, I hit him with a pie. I didn't think this far.
Yeah. So tried, unfortunately the cake didn't work. Beholder.
Oh fuck.
Beholders are fun. The players hated the Beholder fight too.
Yeah, of course.
And I think this is a thing that a lot, as DMs, I think a lot of DMs like Beholders because the eye ray, they get a bunch of actions. The eye rays are all cool.
They're chaotic.
However, players fucking despise it when you ask them to do saving throws constantly.
Yeah.
They fucking hate it. And this fight took a while. This is my first real boss fight that I did. And so eventually, Wolf, who's the Hexblade, ended up, because he got to a high enough level now, he just got his Eldritch Smite. And so he managed to kill the Beholder with the Eldritch Smite and blew it the fuck up at the end after this long battle, almost annihilating the entire, almost, the Beholder almost killed the whole party. It was almost a TPK, to be honest.
I believe it. I mean, what, level 5?
Yeah,
that checks out.
Yeah.
But
and actually,
Beholders are funny, but also entertaining as a GM because they're so chaotic and they're like pure random energy. You don't know, as a GM, you're running a creature that you basically don't know what it's gonna do. But then on the player side of things, that chaotic energy is also real fucking annoying sometimes. So yeah.
I just threw
like
3 spectators at my Strixhaven party. They fucking hated it. I loved it because I'm like, oh, these guys are great.
Oh yeah, those are the little boys, right?
The little green ones with 4 eyeballs.
4 eye stalks.
Yeah, and they were like, every time they're like, all right, I'm like, all right, make a Constitution save and a Wisdom save, and they're like, Matt, how about I don't? How about I just?
How about fuck you?
Can just do damage? Can just give me damage? I'll take damage, and I'm like, nope, just make a save.
No, I mean, its only other option is to bite you, which is dumb. So it's not going to do that.
Yeah,
not going to bite.
So yeah, they killed the Beholder. They got the staff. And I gave them a little magic item. They're like, all right, NPC boss gave you a teleport stone or whatever. To once you get the staff, it'll teleport you.
They got
out of the dungeon.
They got the very important stick of Orcus. Staff of Orcus.
Yeah, and I joked in the villain episode that what ended up happening was, the Shadowblade Drow, as the players were teleporting out, the Drow Shadowblade and a bunch of other Drow just showed up, kicking down the door. They're pointing to where the fuck do you think you're going? And Chris was so mad because he's like, no, wait, no, guys, turn the teleport off. Give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna fuck him up.
Give me 5 minutes. I'll punch him in the face.
Yeah. Don't hold me back.
Hold on, wait. Matt, the way you said he kicked the door in and started pointing around, I immediately thought of the scene in Yu-Gi-Oh where the FBI dudes kick the door in and just
start pointing.
Yeah, they just
basically what happened. Holding the invisible sword.
Yeah, just imagine the Drow and he's pointing his sword, but it's just been censored out.
Yeah. Stop right there.
Where you going?
So they teleport out.
Give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes with the Drow. I'll fuck him up.
And so my player, and this is what started the whole, my players were like, ooh, all right, Matt, we gotta kill all the Drow. We gotta go back there one day, and we're gonna murder them all, because they're fucking evil. And I'm like, all right.
They're fucking evil.
And so they got the staff. They got the staff of Orcus. they, with the help of the Nurse Joy NPC healer I made for them, they were able to, instead of giving it to Kal-El, because they're like, all right, fuck this guy, we can't let him have this staff.
I'm sorry, you mean Mr. Vile?
Mr. Vile. They consecrated it, or not
Such
consecrated.
big Kyle Kieskovich energy.
They de-eviled it and basically destroyed it. Yeah. And basically with the players and the blood hunters were like, all right, we're gonna go take down Kal-El. Joe's character's like, listen, he's got a big elder brain. That's how he's controlling all the zombies that he's using in his army. If we can get to the brain, all the zombies, clearly, it's like a big computer. Clearly, the zombies will turn off. So, they had a plan between the blood hunters and a couple other soldiers from the nearby towns. They had a massive battle, broke down the front gates of Whitestone, fought a bunch of undead, got into the area with the brain.
Did you actually call it White?
Yeah.
God damn it.
I don't like coming up with names.
I got that.
And in the Elder Brain fight, it was the Elder Brain, and it was the one like cult Kal-El dude that thought Joe was his buddy. So when Joe and the party broke in, he's just like, Jimmy, we were supposed to be friends. We were necromancers together. We graduated Necronancy 101 together. How could you do this to me? And then Joe's just like, Firebolt.
Firebolt.
Yeah. So they shut off the brain. Kal-El, basically all the zombies around the area deactivated except for the ones in the castle. And then the players were like, all right, showtime, final boss, let's go. We're gonna beat Kal-El. We're gonna take him down. So I looked up, there was actually in the map, or in the book, the Keep on the Shadowfell, they actually have like the Kal-El boss fight map and everything. So I used that, and he had this orb where he would just summon undead every once in a while, and he would fly around and float around and shit. Yeah, and basically and basically by the end of it, now they big drag out boss fight. They take him down.
Wait, how did they get to Kal-El? They just like kicked his fucking door and.
Yeah, basically.
I figured it'd be harder to get to him, but all right.
No, they kicked down the door, and basically after they shut off the Elder Brain, Kal-El is like, all right, I need to go into my ritual chamber. I need to ponder my fucking orb, and I need to gather all my undead to guard me. The shit's about to hit the brick. It's about to get bad.
So they did the Moon Knight coming to beat up Dracula.
Yeah. And they killed Kal-El, and then they had his orb. And so one of my players was like, I wish to ponder the orb.
Yes.
Which this is where around this time, this is where I actually started learning about plotting in D&D and like being like, okay, I have an idea for what I want the big bad to be. And so the player pondered the orb and saw that there was a big, giant reptilian eye staring back at him. And he was basically in this trance where he couldn't get out. And to which this big red a reptilian red eye on fire was like, free me. And the player's like, Matt, I want to break out of this trance. I stabbed the orb. I stabbed the pondering orb. So he broke the pondering orb.
I stab the pondering.
Yep. He stabbed it. It broke, and what it ended up doing was it ended up releasing the again from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, 5 Abishai, 1 of each chromatic color. And this is where like these guys ended up being bad, bigger bad guys later on in the campaign.
And they basically the Abishai that just like appeared.
Yeah, the Abishai just appeared. They're like, all right, we're free. We can now do Dragon Cult shit. They turned to the players. Yeah, you're not worth it. And then they left. And my players were like, wait, what? No, what the fuck? What was that?
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then I did the thing like Kal-El did with the skill challenge of the castle crumbling down on top of the players, and the players all escape the castle. They're the heroes. They're the saviors. And basically, this is also when the MCDM Strongholds and Follower rules came out. So as a reward, now they're level 8 or level 10. I don't remember at this point. I think I leveled them up twice. They got a castle. They got a stronghold, and happy first end of the ending chapter of the campaign. Yeah. Yeah. There's still a lot more left over of the 3-year game, but I figured, at least I'll end it at the first major campaign arc.
The very dunked on like a nerd.
Yeah, no, he did a lot of damage. He kept knocking down a lot of players, and then they kept trying to heal themselves back up real quick, doing the I'll heal him 1 health, and then can get back up.
Wait. So they beat on Kal-El and fucking kick his nuts in.
Yep.
And then the orb summons a bunch of Abishai, and then the Abishai fuck off, and they just stand there like, wait, what? Huh? What?
Yeah, they were there. Yeah, there was so many things going on. There was wait a minute. Hey, we're happy we killed Kal-El, but then they're like, who the fuck are these guys? Did they just say we're not worth it? They just fly away? Is the castle coming down on us? There's so many things going on all at once that they didn't have time to react to the Abishai. Really.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I just said the Abishai fuck off, the player's just standing there. I'm sure that won't come back to bite us.
I'm sure it's fine.
Everything's fine.
But that's the first half of the campaign, the 3-year game. What do you guys think so far?
Yeah, it's about as chaotic as I was expecting. It is kind of funny that I shouldn't even say funny. It's actually kind of impressive that you managed to take just a stream of chaotic energy in the beginning with basically no plan at all, and slowly funnel it down into a point of cohesion and be like, all right, I think I can work with this.
Yeah.
You started with a very wide net and are like, I'll get somewhere eventually. Wait, okay, we got some.
Yeah. Looking back, it was like I said, it was definitely building the rail tracks as the train was coming. A lot of that up until that Kal-El bit.
Yeah, at which point you're like, all right, maybe if I build the tracks ahead of time a little bit, just a little bit.
And even if let's say certain encounters weren't good, I messed up some rulings as an early DM. It didn't matter because
that shit's whatever.
Yeah, my players really enjoyed it. And to quote one of my players, who basically this is one of the highest compliments I've gotten. It's my D&D games are basically if Adult Swim made a Disney film, what my campaigns feel like apparently to them. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good. Yeah, I could see that comparison. All right.
Alrighty.
Bitches.
We'll wrap it. Yeah.
Bitches and hoes and bitches. We're gonna come back around next time.
Next 50th anniversary show.
Yeah, for 50th anniversary show number 2. If you enjoyed the chaos that is spewed out of Matt's.
Yep.
Mouth.
My mouth.
Matt's mouth. Now it sounds a little dirty. If you've enjoyed what you heard, hit the follow or subscribe button on your podcast platform of choice. If you want to tell Matt why he did a bad job or a good job, leave a comment.
Yeah.
And if you want to stay up to date, follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody, and to another 50.
I'm not going to thank you.
Oh,
Thanks, bud.
Damn. Yeah.
At least I'm not a fucking animal.
Bye-bye.